the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-171 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
It's bow time. Something new just dropped at Bojangles. Take the bold taste of a crispy golden chicken supreme that's been seasoned to perfection, then add dill pickles, Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, and a toasted bun that's great on the go. What do you get? You get a Bo's Bird Dog. In fact, you can grab 2 of them for $5. So when you're on the go, headed to practice, or need a snack, grab a Bo's Bird Dog. Hurry in before they're gone. Available for a limited time. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time, but sometimes it's go time. No time to stop, but the perfect time for a Bojangles Bird Dog. A seasoned to perfection Bojangles Chicken Supremes, dill pickles, and Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, all tucked inside a toasted bun. Great on the go. Try 2 Bird Dogs for just $5 or 2 Bird Dog combo for just $8.25. Available for limited time only. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
That dog does not want to be petted.
Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Turn things all the way up and find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Big truck accidents can cause life-changing injuries, and life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money. I know big truck wrecks, and I know how to fight those big insurance companies. If you've been hurt by a big truck, contact us at ritchielaw.com. I'm on top of it.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Today is a WRAL weather alert day due to the potential for flooding. We've had a number of flash flood warnings around the area, and some places have already seen 2 to 4 inches of rain. Just be careful. Don't drive your car into a flooded road. We'll continue to have heavy rain across the area through the evening. Our high this afternoon in the mid-70s.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb and Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones is up 98 points to 44,209. Market update brought to you by Bolton Construction Services. Bolton is actively hiring experienced HVAC techs with a $2,500 sign-on bonus. As a family-owned leader in HVAC, Bolton puts people first. Don't miss out. Apply now at boltonservice.com.
Bryce in the pocket, steps up, eludes the rush, throws, end zone, caught, Adam Thielen, touchdown!
Heels toss it that way to Hampton, and he is in. Touchdown, Carolina.
Bailey, shotgun, snap left hashes, QB keeper, dives forward, touchdown, Bailey, his 3rd of the night.
Cooper faces up with 5 and 4, drives Davis, spins, waiting, fades away, and hits!
Game over! Series over! Sebastian!
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Good afternoon, everybody. It's a Wednesday. I'm Tim Donnelly, Dennis Cox producing the show. And I don't know why we're dilly-dallying. Let's jump right into the Big 3 at 3.
Number 1.
Panthers had a joint practice earlier today. Now, there's going to be a lot more pomp and circumstance around Panthers-Browns on Friday as the preseason opener. But if you talk to the coaches, the position coaches, and so many others, they'll tell you that joint practices may be more productive as far as actually getting better as a team than situations like real preseason games. You're more comfortable playing your stars because it's more controlled. Coaches have a whistle so you can protect them a bit more. And that you can put the players in situations that you desire, right? If you want them working on third downs, you can just say, hey, everybody, it's third down. You don't have to go through first and second down to get there. So it's a more controlled environment.
We're in the red zone.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody, we're in the red zone. Why? Because I'm putting the ball on the 18-yard line.
Yeah.
And that's where we're going to start.
Goal to go situation. Hey, ball's on the 8.
Hey, Coach, I want this to be good on good. Can we get our ones out there? You get your ones out there? Cool. Rather than preseason where you might not see their stars at all. Now, it did not start great. The reason I say that is because there were reports, and I will actually give you the tamped down edition, unlike what I went through. J.C. Horn has a minor injury. It's not expected to be a long-term deal. So you can start with that. What it started with when I learned about it was J.C. Horn got in a car accident this morning. And it went, whoa, uh-oh. Like, right when you hear car accident, your mind jumps to a bunch of things that you don't want it to jump to. But eventually it was revealed nobody in the accident needed emergency medical. Nobody was transported anywhere. He essentially had I don't even know if it was a fender bender. I don't know what you would call it. Car accident near the stadium. He did not practice today. For an update on J.C. Horn, not participating in the joint practices and everything else in his medical situation, here is the audio from Dave Canales after practice.
I'm glad that JC was okay. He did have to have a few stitches in his left thumb area, and so they got that all cleaned up and sutured up. He's day-to-day right now. We're just going to kind of evaluate. It doesn't seem like anything else happened, but we're just going to kind of evaluate him each day. He'll be able to still do some activity and running and all that, but he will not play this game. Hopefully we can get him turned around so we can take advantage of an opportunity in Houston, for that game, which was kind of the plan all along.
The thumb area? I just thought that was a funny way to describe it. Overall, it's good news, right? For as bad as it went, if you're going to get in a car accident, a couple of stitches on your thumb area, nothing serious. But it does show something that we've been concerned about this preseason, right? The fragility of the starters on the defensive side of the ball. And as soon as J.C. Horn is not participating in something like a joint practice, and you find out he's okay, then you turn to, well, who's going to be marking the Browns when they go ones-on-ones? Who's gonna be defending? If you figure Mike Jackson's going to be on one side because that's his spot. Shaw Smith-Wade jumping in there. Is it Corey Thornton, who's an undrafted rookie free agent? Is it are you moving a Damani Richardson up there? Obviously, Shamar Bartholomew. These are not household names. Now, the underlying fact here is if any team lost their best or second best player on their defense, it would hurt, right? There's no team out there that's built for your stud to get hurt. But I'm not sure I would react any differently if something outside their control happened to anybody on the defense. Claudin Cherilus reportedly got attention for a groin issue today and left on a cart to be looked at by the trainers. And he's a depth piece linebacker. And still when that happened, I was like, oh, goodness. On top of the Josie Jewell stuff. So the Panthers defense, eat your Wheaties, do your stretching, stay hydrated. We really need those of you that are going to be depended upon to stay as healthy as possible. And then obviously you just got to hope that the things outside your control don't pop up at the wrong time. We'll get more into the joint practice reactions to the actual play rather than who didn't play at about 3:15. So we're less than 10 minutes away from that conversation. Right now, we need to get to number 2.
Number 2.
Once again, shout out to Brian Murphy, WRAL Sports investigative reporter. That's where I first saw this news. UNC football, their general manager, Michael Lombardi, former front office executive across the NFL, author of many books about football, and one of the kind of like inner circle guys for Bill Belichick. We knew that he was making $1.5 million this year is kind of what the reports and scuttlebutt was about a couple months ago. But Brian Murphy did some digging and found out It is a 3-year, $4.5 million deal for Michael Lombardi. That's a nice chunk of change right there for a front office member of a college football team. Keep in mind, the general manager for UNC basketball, Jim Tanner, he had to fulfill the world's easiest incentive for UNC. They either had to make the NCAA tournament or sign at least one 4-star or 5-star recruit for him to get up to $950,000. So even with a easy to achieve incentive, he is still over $500,000 per year below Michael Lombardi for the football team. As far as the interesting part of the terms, right? 3 years, $1.5 million. Belichick's guarantees are also through the first 3 years of his contract. So this, as you see in the NFL quite often, right? If a coach and a GM are kind of buddies, if they work well together, if they chose each other or one chose the other, it's often that their guarantees and their contract lengths and everything will match up. So, it's appropriate at the same time to move on from or extend contracts to both of them at the same time. But I guess good on you, Michael Lombardi. Get your money. That's number 2. Let's hit number 3.
Number 3.
ESPN's been wheeling and dealing. In like 10 hours, we got, 3 different pieces of news. Reports emerged that ESPN will have their direct-to-consumer, all-in-one streaming situation ready in about 2 weeks, maybe 2 weeks and a couple days, August 21st. Also, ESPN and the NFL have agreed to a deal that hasn't been approved, and there's still the final finish line to get across. But the NFL, if it goes through, will own 10% of ESPN. The NFL, the league, will own 10% of ESPN. And in exchange, ESPN obviously gets a business partnership with the league. They get things like Red Zone. They get things like 8 more games. They get things like NFL Network. They get things like the NFL.com's fantasy assets. All the fantasy players and accounts that are there now get to be jumped on over to ESPN.
Basically merging those two things.
It is a big, mergers. I mean, that's why it still has to be approved. I'm assuming, the government's going to have to approve this merger.
Yeah, there's regulatory stuff that has to go with it. It might take anywhere from 9 months to actually 12 months to actually officially go through, if it's approved.
My initial reaction, I like that ESPN and the NFL are going to be closely partnered. One, because I think ESPN does media and does content better than the NFL. So if they have the same access that the NFL Network had to the NFL, I think they'll do a better job of it. And I think that it'll streamline the ways we watch games, right? I won't have to subscribe to 700 different things to watch 700 different games, which could help. But I do think you got to closely monitor and watch this one, and you got to keep it in your brain, right? ESPN will be asked to cover a league that they are now business partners with and need business-wise to be successful. So if they're brushing something under the rug, that will be called into question. If there is something that needs to be criticized and they're not criticizing as aggressively as other media entities are, that's gonna raise some eyebrows. The other side is, I thought this was interesting, just thinking about it this way. The NFL now owns 10% of ESPN, if this goes through. ESPN lends its name out to ESPN Bet, a sports book. So it doesn't take too many connecting of the dots for me to realize that the NFL is now business motivated to have sports gambling be successful, specifically one particular sports book. Because if ESPN, thus the ESPN name and everything ESPN is partnered with, goes through the roof in valuations and does very, very well business-wise, that 10% for the NFL can grow literal billions. So keep your eyes on that. Most people like to have a hard and fast line, a line drawn, a barrier built between the leagues and anything gambling related. There might be a middleman in the middle. It's not they're not hanging out, but they're in the same friend group now. If this goes through, which I assume it will, right? They got a lot of smart lawyers and everything on both the NFL and ESPN side. And that's the Big 3 at 3 here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. When we come back, the Panthers had a joint practice against the Cleveland Browns. They released an unofficial depth chart. There's a lot to react to. Carolina Panthers and our reactions next.
Lowe's knows when you're looking for reliability, the right brand makes all the difference. And now, Lowe's is the exclusive home improvement retailer for the Whirlpool water treatment line, including their Wi-Fi softener, under-sink filtration system, and more. With Whirlpool's proven performance and our everyday low prices, better tasting, better quality water is within reach. Shop pro-trusted brands like Whirlpool and more, in-store or online. Lowe's, we help, you save.
With Robinhood, not only can you trade individual stocks and ETFs, you can also seamlessly buy and sell crypto at low costs. Trade all in one place. Get started now on Robinhood. Trading crypto involves significant risk. Crypto trading is offered through an account with Robinhood Crypto LLC. Robinhood Crypto is licensed to engage in virtual currency business activity by the New York State Department of Financial Services. Crypto held through Robinhood Crypto is not FDIC insured or SIPC protected. Investing involves risk, including loss of principal. Securities trading is offered through an account with Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC, a registered broker-dealer.
Do Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keep coming back? Tremfya, guselkumab, may help, with rapid remission achieved at 12 weeks and lasting clinical remission at 1 year. Some even saw visible improvement of their intestinal lining at 12 weeks and 1 year. Tremfya is a prescription medicine used to treat adults with moderately to severely active Crohn's disease and adults with moderately to severely active ulcerative colitis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Healing is possible with Tremfya. Approximately 3 out of 10 patients were in endoscopic remission at 1 year, based on areas visualized on colonoscopy, which may not represent the deeper bowel layer or entire GI tract. Individual results may vary. Ask your doctor about Tremfya today. Call 1-800-526-7736 to learn more or visit tremfyaradio.com.
Falcons showing blitz. They bring the blitz. Young hits David Moore on the slant and into the end zone for a touchdown.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Hey, the Panthers got to play someone wearing another team's jersey today.
Let's go. We did it. We made it.
Joint practices today. Cleveland was in town. Cleveland Browns. All right. Reactions, right? Because this feels more real, right? It feels more authentic, I guess. Like if you do well in a drill against another team, you can be certain that the coaches didn't juice it at all. I used to love when you'd hear like the wide receivers coach against scout team talking to the scout team safety going like, hey, you got to come up and stop the run, huh? Got to stop the run. And I'm sitting there knowing we got a play action called. Like, all right, this is going to look really good because our coach is just juicing the deck for us right now, right? You run the play action, the guy's flying down to stop the run, you throw it right over his head. It's like, oh, look at that. We're completing passes, which coaches do sometimes. You know a receiver needs a confidence boost or something. You give him a nice little easy touchdown in practice, whatever. But against another team, you know that it's a little bit more legit. If you win, you win. If you lose, you lose. So something like Teteroa McMillan, I would say up and down, right? I searched through all of the reports, all of the clips that were available, and it seems like Teteroa McMillan had a quintessentially rookie up and down day. To the point where, a couple of plays could separate a drop in the end zone and a highlight touchdown on a slant where he's got a man draped over him and he gets one hand on it and reels it in. Like it's same player, 45 seconds apart, bad rookie concentration drop, and oh yeah, that guy's got a certain set of skills that can emerge in a super positive way. That's what these days are for, right? That's what joint practices are for. to get as much of the jitters, to get as much of the let me see what I can get away with, to get as much as of the this is what it's likes out of the way. So I'm gonna react real quickly to quite a few of the younger guys. Tedero McMillan, up and down. I expect that for him. He's coming from Arizona, where even his Arizona career, meaning in college, was up and down. Some days 200+ yards, some days 50. So consistency will be something he has to learn as he becomes a pro. Princely Umanmielen, one of my favorite prospects on the Panthers, he got a taste of the real thing. He had a one-on-one rep against DeJuan Jones of Cleveland. DeJuan Jones, to put it lightly, is a mountain.
A 6'8", 375.
Many of you will remember him from Ohio State, just a big dude. And Princely Umanmielen tried to go with a little out and then in move, and DeJuan Jones's wingspan is something that my guess is Princely's never encountered before, because he got his hands on him and stonewalled him, and you could, like, the only way I can describe it is it's like a kid sitcom move where an adult puts their hand on the kid's forehead, and then the kid is swinging, like throwing punches, but they just never reach the adult. It wasn't on the forehead, but his wingspan had him on the shoulder, his reach, and you could see the things Princely was trying to do just weren't reaching DeJuan Jones until the rep was over. And you know, file that one away. A lesson learned when you're up against one of these, like the mountain from Game of Thrones. The way to beat them is you got to make sure they don't get their hands on you the first time, because it's kind of game over from there. Lesson learned. At least you hope so, or at least partial lesson learned. I don't think it's like, you know, you do it once and you're like, never happen again. But then there was also the positive stuff. Speaking of gargantuan humans, Cam Jackson, fifth round pick
out of Florida.
Fifth round defensive tackle for the Carolina Panthers. He learned that 6'6", 335-pound plays at this level too. Right? He is his own gargantuan human for Carolina, one of the multiple massive dudes they have on the interior of that defensive line. And when they went kind of similar spot on the depth chart against similar spot on the depth chart for the Browns, those interior offensive linemen were getting taken for a ride, because Cam Jackson learned, if I lean and put all my power into this, you know, there's only so many things like from a physics standpoint, like Sir Isaac Newton would say, right? Force and mass, acceleration, there's something there. That works in the NFL as well. And it did. He put a couple guys on his back in one-on-ones. Now, I know what a lot of you are saying, maybe even screaming right now, which is, great. How was Bryce? Oh, the rookies are playing. Okay. How was Bryce Young? Let's hear from Dave Canales. Dave Canales thought it was a good day for Bryce overall. Here he is.
Just finding his guys down the field, you know, guys being available to him. I think the 7-on-7 period, they weren't on the same page a couple times. And so there's something that we can kind of work through. But, you know, I just loved, you know, the bounce back plays. You know, the Browns are pros too. They made some plays out there, you know, and just a highlight to see that front. It's a pretty good front, you know, adding Mason Graham inside, of course. You know, Myles Garrett was out there. And so just loved the physical style play that was happening. But Bryce was able to find some opportunities down the field. And we looked a little leggy. We got after it yesterday. You know, I'll be honest. We looked a little leggy at first, but the guys kind of got going in the practice. And, of course, just competition brings out the best in the guys.
Got to turn my microphone on. It looked like Bryce had a good day. But I'm going to let somebody or all of you in on how I think about it. We knew he would look good. The crazy part, I don't even know what's crazy. Something you have to realize about judging Bryce is I genuinely cannot think of a time he has ever struggled on a football field aside from like 15 game days in the NFL. Like, he was one of the number one recruits in the country. He was an unbelievable high school player. He won a ton of recruiting awards during the camp circuit. He goes to Alabama, where in his first year, he wins a national championship as a backup. Second year, he wins the Heisman Trophy. Next year, he's the number one overall pick. Shows up in Carolina, everybody's excited about him. He goes into the preseason, does well, right? All of the camp stuff does well. Then on game days during the NFL season, his first year, he struggled. Then he comes back the next year. He's get one drive in the preseason, right down in scores. Exciting, everything again. A couple of those game days, he struggled.
And then last year, by all accounts, in the joint practice against the Jets, people were saying, "Oh, Bryce cooked. Bryce cooked."
There's very few situations aside, maybe even more than 15. I don't know, maybe a little 15 and change. Game days are the only days he struggled. So pretty much any time you're going into a showcase, a practice, what they would call like an underwear Olympics, right, where you're in shorts and a T-shirt and you're being judged, I firmly expect Bryce Young to look unbelievable, and I think he did today. Not saying he didn't throw any interceptions, because he did, but it's practice. You take your chances. Like, he looked very, very solid by all accounts. I was not expecting anything else. The hard thing that we have to decipher is he being prepared? Is he ready? Is he different than the past 2 years in preseason as far as his preparation for game number 1? Or the other side of it, right? Because there's, the cause and the effect, what is the root cause? Or is the supporting cast around him improved to the level that they will help him be better in game 1, game 2 than he's been the last few years? And one of the big things is that Teteroa McMillan that we talked about, right? Is he getting all of the growing pains, or at least enough of the growing pains out early on in this one, during joint practices, during Friday's preseason game, that by the time they hit week 1, Bryce and McMillan are ready to be the difference between this year and the last 2. Again, Dave Canales, the head coach, talked to the media. He was asked how Bryce and Teteroa are getting more comfortable.
I love the chemistry that they're developing. I think that, especially down the field, Bryce has been giving, T-Mac a lot of opportunities, a lot of shots down the field to figure out where can I put this, where he's going to be able to get his hands on it, and on the play that he had a touchdown that he dropped today, and he was kind of running a corner route, and Bryce kind of, instead of leading him to the back pylon, Bryce kind of threw it right behind the defender, and I think that was a new one, for T-Mac, because he was like, oh, shoot, this is a good spot for it. Bryce kind of saw it. So I was excited about that. Bryce turned around to me. We're both smiling, and we would love him to catch that ball. He will. But I love just taking those attempts down the field, just because it's just the me to you factor, learning new skill players within our scheme.
The comfortability. I would actually, if I were a coach, I would almost, well, first of all, you want them to do well, and you're going to judge them on their technique, and you're going to judge them on decisions and all those sorts of things. But with an up-and-down day like Teteroa had, I would watch their interactions after the bad plays, right? How quickly do they get together? What is Bryce telling him? Is it like long synopsises with extremely long dissertations, or could it be a look and a hand signal? Could it be, hey, man, get up? Right? Did they have a shorthand? Because that's what the best quarterbacks and wide receivers develop.
And Bryce even talked about it today as well, in the sense of on the couple of times where they either struggled on offense with the pre-snap penalties, or they had the drops or miscommunications, that they were able to quickly bounce right back and then execute in the next play. That's something that even with that same receiver, that they're able to execute and able to, move on, or at least build from that mistake. And like you said, how quickly can you learn from this? Apparently, that's what Bryce said was today. It was something he really liked seeing from the offense.
It all comes. I mean, that's
why you practice.
I was going to say, I'm going to say this 9,000 times. So you can start the counter. Here's number 2. You're not going to know if any of this is sticking until game 1.
Yeah.
But you got to try, right? You got to monitor it. You got to do everything you can. And then game 1 is when you find out whether it all worked or not. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We'll have more reactions to Panthers' unofficial depth charts and joint practices and everything throughout the show. But right now, Dennis Cox has something he'd like to tell you.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here from my friends over at Law Tigers. Unfortunately, no motorcycling today. Have you been outside yet? Stay safe when you're out there on the road, folks. But here's something to keep in mind, not just as a motorcycle rider, but even just as someone who drives a vehicle, is that there are a lot of people out there. In some areas of North Carolina, 1 in 8 people that are out there on the road are either underinsured or uninsured as a driver. So if you get involved in an accident, well, if their policy doesn't cover your medical bills, your trip to the hospital, well, then your own policy on your own insurance then has to kick in. So as a motorcycle rider, make sure you max out on your coverage when it comes to a motorcycle rider, because if you have to go to the hospital because you're involved in the accident and the person that hit you is underinsured or uninsured, well, guess what? Then your policy has to take over to help cover the cost. That's something to keep in mind before you even go out there on the road. So as a rider, make sure that your insurance is up to date. Make sure your insurance is getting the max coverage for you possible. But if you are injured in a motorcycle accident, call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS. Again, 1-800-LAW-TIGERS is the number to call, because Law Tigers are part of the motorcycle riding community. They are there to serve you. They know what your bike and your gear are worth, but they also know what you're going through after an accident. Your case evaluation with Law Tigers is always free, and they don't get paid a dime until your case settles. So call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle injury lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, gets to a Dean's List coming up next, including one local athlete that hooked up a high school, at least his old team. Stick around.
Looking for a big new game to play? Well, there's no game bigger than the new dino-sized Jurassic Park scratch-off from the North Carolina Education Lottery, which gives you a chance to win up to $200,000 instantly. And if that weren't enough, you can enter for a chance to win an exciting trip to beautiful Hawaii, where you could win up to $1 million. Welcome to Jurassic Park. Adventure awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 4.28. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
A torn ACL, stress fracture, aching back, a hip that's had it, life on hold, and all you want is to get it back. Enter Wake Orthopedics. Our fellowship-trained orthopedists do it all. General, sports, pediatric, joint replacement, fractures, spine, prevention, advanced diagnostics, progressive treatments, minimally invasive procedures, surgeries, and more. Visit wakemed.org/wakeortho and get back your life.
Struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166171 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
On third down, shovel pass. Hampton here. Look at the room he has to run. Inside the 20, still on his feet. He'll score.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. This song, this is one of those, like, you know how music can take you right back to a spot. I want to say like 2006 NCAA football, the video game.
Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe earlier, maybe in like 04. But I just remember, remember Option Attack? I had because the music would keep playing when you're doing the mini games. You'd be playing Option Attack, and this song would be playing.
NCAA football 06.
06! I don't know whether to be proud or a little embarrassed by the fact that I nailed it exactly to the year. And I'm not even a huge video game guy. But obviously 2006 NCAA football. I got to be a big video game guy to be all about that.
Madden 04.
Is that what it was?
Oh, no, I'm telling you, Madden 04 had a
Mike
great
Vick
soundtrack.
here? Mike Vick here? Yeah.
Madden 04, great soundtrack.
You weren't allowed to pick the Falcons in my friend group because whoever had the Falcons was just going to win. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Now that we've talked about the things that probably distracted us when we should have been doing our homework, let's get to the Dean's List. the part of the show where we give a few extra accolades, a little extra praise to those that are directly or indirectly related to the college sports world that we hold so near and dear in this part of the country, where I call the mecca of college sports. I'm going to start with Omarion Hampton, UNC running back from a season ago, getting ready to play his first NFL season. But this is related to his high school. Cleveland High School posted a video of their high school football team, Cleveland High School, where Omarion Hampton went. He hooked him up with new cleats. I just think that's got to be one of the coolest things once you like make it as a pro. You call up like your shoe connect and go like, hey, let's hook up my high school. Let's get everybody looking fresh. And then you hear little things like, I thought Baker Mayfield did it for some school in Florida. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't just shoes, it was like a bunch of gear. They ended up winning like super surprise, going from like 6-5 to winning the state championship. And it's like, hey, way to go, Baker. He deserves none of the credit, but I'm sure it made him feel good. So Omarion Hampton, shout out to Cleveland High School. New cleats. Also, that's got to be an awesome feeling.
Yeah.
As a kid, you just walk in, new cleats from the guy who was probably in high school when you were in like late elementary school, if you're a senior, middle school even.
I think, yeah, well, because he spent 3 years at North Carolina, so 4 years ago he would have been at Cleveland High School down there in Clayton. Yeah.
So I guess seniors would have been freshmen.
No, I don't think it would have been that way. Yeah, they're in 8th grade, yeah.
So, you remember him at least, and now he's going to go be a starting running back for the Chargers, and he's sending you back free cleats. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm a kid it lives in Clayton, and Cleveland High School was the school that I would be going to, I was probably at it almost every Friday night.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know if I'd be watching the game. I'd probably be playing pickup football behind the bleachers with the other kids in middle school.
Absolutely.
Which is one of the great memories of every football player's life. More Dean's List. How about Luka Bogavac? I went and listened on how to pronounce it before the show, and I completely forget it now. Incoming recruit for UNC basketball. Mm-hmm. 6'5", 200-pound guard, but he's coming from overseas, right? He averaged about 15 points, 3.5 rebounds, 2.5 assists per game last season for SC Derby in the Montenegrin Basketball League, as well as they play in both the Montenegrin Basketball League and the ABA League, which is consisting of countries that formerly made up Yugoslavia. I say all of that because he has obtained, I guess this was a little touch and go. People weren't 100% sure it was going to come in. He has obtained a student visa and is expected to head to Chapel Hill next week to join the UNC basketball program. So he is a big part of their recruiting class. He comes with some bona fides from it's kind of crazy. I went on his Wikipedia page when I was looking to how to pronounce his name. And it has like early life, and then it says professional career, and it has like stats and stuff. And now he's going to go play in college. That never would have happened a couple years ago. It's just crazy. But he's a bona fide dude, 6'5", 200-pound guard, brings size, brings length. And appears like now he will actually be able to make good on his commitment to UNC, that he has obtained the student visa he needs. Dennis, do you have somebody you'd like to add to the Dean's List?
I don't.
Then I will continue. How about this? The ACC, Big 12, SEC, and Big 10.
All four of them?
Yes. They have reshaped the Division I Board of Directors for athletics. They get a bunch more power, those four as a unit. And you know what else? Also, all of them individually get power. And I was reading the article about it today on ESPN. So apparently, they knew, kind of everybody was aware, that the Power Four conferences, there's going to be a reshuffling of decision-making control, and those four would be more powerful than the Group of Five, the Pac-12, Notre Dame, like those four were going to come with a certain amount of sway out of this. The SEC, the Southeastern Conference, had been pushing for SEC and the three others, so SEC, Big 12, ACC, Big 10. They've been pushing for each of them to get 17% of the voting share, with eyes towards that way, if one of the four conferences disagreed, The other 3, with 17 each, could band together and still get anything they want passed with 51% of the vote, because 17, 17, 17, 51. They did not go for it. Instead, the legislation has increased their voting shares to 16.1% each.
Go figure.
Which holds it just below that. So it essentially gives each of the 4 big ones power conferences, as long as the group of 5 disagrees, which my guess is they'll disagree with everything because power conferences and group of conferences really rarely see things together. You have like a veto power. Each of the 4 power conferences can just say no, and they can't get to 50% without either the group of 5 or all 4. So it's an interesting little power structure there. And I find it interesting that the SEC wanted to make it where you only needed 3, because that tells me they're looking at one of the 4 to eliminate.
Oh, yeah. It's like, all right, who can we get on our side? Big 12 or ACC? Who will bow to our demands
Exactly.
first?
Who's willing to turn on their friends? Last one here on the Dean's List, and we'll talk more about that later on in the show. Shout out to Damian Lillard. He has been named the general manager at Weber State, where he once starred. He announced it over the weekend when he hosted some alumni event. But if you pair him, and this is where it gets a little bit more local, Steph Curry is the assistant GM for Davidson, where he played. There's a few others. Trae Young, an assistant GM at Oklahoma. Terrence Mann, another NBA player, assistant GM at Florida State. It's becoming more common. Dame, obviously, being the GM, is a little more aggressive. But I do, like, is this the move? Should Duke, UNC, State, Wake, should they be reaching out to their NBA alumni to join their front office?
Yeah, so Wake get Tim Duncan and Chris Paul?
Or, I mean, yeah, I guess those 2 would be, like, number 1 and number 2.
Oh, for sure.
But it doesn't even have to be, like, I don't know, what's Al Farouk Aminu doing? Like, can you work
Randolph Childress up to these days?
Can you work some others in? Or for, I mean, UNC and Duke, obviously, State have a ton of options. You just got to find one that wants to fundraise a little, recruit a little, and come back to campus in the offseason, right?
Yeah, I'm wondering, for example, like Steph Curry with Davidson, shout out to the Wildcats, is being an assistant general manager. Obviously, he's not going to be doing a lot of stuff on a day-to-day basis, but I think having him there will help monetarily, help financially, because his name's attached to it, and he can maybe jump on a call if necessary, whatever it might be. But having his name just still attached directly with the program in some capacity has to boost things in some way, shape, or form.
And I'm fairly certain that all of these came with an immediate donation from the player.
For sure.
But yes, like, imagine that as your close, right? You got a big donor ready to cut a fat check, but they're not sure. You know what? Let me get Steph on the phone. Let me get our assistant GM on the phone. Let him tell you how important it'll be. Get him on the phone for 10 minutes, a Zoom, right? Send a couple autographed pictures. I don't know, anytime I see other schools doing something that creates buzz, if I were in the college sports world, I'd immediately go, all right, do we want to be in there in that same arena, and how can we one-up them in that same arena?
Could you imagine if Michael Jordan was the GM of UNC basketball?
Assistant GM?
Your assistant GM? Heck, make Coach K the assistant GM at Duke.
Duke with the brotherhood stuff, though, I feel like they would have to have, like there's no roster limit on assistant GMs, right? They'd have like 80 assistant GMs.
Oh, yeah.
They're all assistant GMs.
There's Grant Hill.
And UNC would counter with Michael Jordan, and it would be a fair fight.
Grant Hill, here's Leitner,
here's Leitner, here's Jay Will, here's Jason Tatum, here's all of these, and then it's just MJ.
Zion.
Kyrie. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Let's go ahead and dismiss the Dean's List, because I have to tell you all about Manor Service Company. Tim Donnelly here for Manor Service Company. You know, along the lines, 80 assistant GMs. Well, there's a whole bunch of different technicians running around Manor Service Company, in Manor Service Company trucks, running around the triangle, and they are all equally expert at their field, right? Heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, and that's got to make you feel good, right? It's not, hey, It's not like a team with one star. And if they get in foul trouble, if they get hurt, all of a sudden, oh no, we don't have anyone that good. Maynard Service Company trains everyone on their roster, the most senior member of their technicians all the way down to the newest member of their technicians. And they do that so they can do things like 24/7 service all across the triangle. They do that so the times where it gets busy, right? It's been raining all day today, right? So certain weather things end up impacting the triangle. When it's 102 degrees, a little bit busy on air conditioning repairs, I am sure, as they get a little bit overworked. You don't want to be sitting there hoping you get the star player and not the bench warmer. So Maynard Service Company just makes sure they're all star players. Everybody's trained. Everyone gets the one-on-one attention with coach. Heating, cooling, plumbing, electric. Maynard Service Company makes sure their technicians are experts at it all. Right, they do it all. So give them a call, 919-361-0993. That's 919-361-0993. Or you can visit them online, MaynardServices.com. Once again, that's MAYNOR services.com. We'll take a break. When we come back here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9, we have audio from Darian Mensah of Duke, their quarterback, once again presenting as a professional quarterback. Stick around.
It's bow time. Something new just dropped at Bojangles. Take the bold taste of a crispy golden chicken supreme that's been seasoned to perfection, then add dill pickles, Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, and a toasted bun that's great on the go. What do? You get a Bo's Bird Dog. In fact, you can grab 2 of them for $5. So when you're on the go, headed to practice, or need a snack, grab a Bo's Bird Dog. Hurry in before they're gone. Available for a limited time. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time, but sometimes it's go time. No time to stop, but the perfect time for a Bojangles Bird Dog. A seasoned to perfection Bojangles Chicken Supremes, dill pickles, and Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, all tucked inside a toasted bun. Great on the go. Try 2 bird dogs for just $5 or 2 bird dog combo for just $8.25. Available for limited time only. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
Guys, Marcy Bailey here from Bailey's Fine Jewelry with some diamond advice. Buying an engagement ring doesn't have to be so complicated. We've been doing this since 1948, and we know what women want. A combination of size and quality. And a little hint here, size wins big. We guarantee you can be in and out in under an hour, and she'll love the ring or your money back. It's that easy. Come see why we're voted the best place to buy a diamond. And remember, every woman wants a Bailey box.
That'll be 30 even.
That's 90 points! Sorry, that was a lot. Now that I'm getting 3 times the points on food and fuel with the Navy Federal More Rewards American Express card, I get a little too hyped sometimes.
Cool. Would you like your receipt?
In the bag! Sorry, in the bag, please. Learn more about the everyday, everywhere Navy Federal More Rewards American Express card at NavyFederal.org. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Navy Federal is insured by NCUA.
Just inside the 2. Here's the snap. The give to Thomas cuts right. He's in! Touchdown! It's 21-19 with 9:02 to go.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. By this point, Darien Mensah has been a part of the Duke football program for a while. It feels like a long time ago that we were surprised by the CBS report that he was getting a $4 million per year NIL deal. But still, even though I've interviewed him, he's been on this network a few times. We talked to him at ACC kickoff. Even though all of this has happened, I'm still not conditioned enough by the way to not be surprised by the way he presents himself as like an NFL quarterback. I catch myself telling people, right? Other people that I've have football histories with, played with, grew up with, whatever, that went on to play in college. I go, you're never going to believe this. The Duke quarterback paid or covered, I guess I should say that's the word he used, brought his receivers to Tampa for a week of workouts like he's the starting quarterback of the Jets. right? They did the offseason retreat to unwind, get away from the facility, and work out. And now I'm like, the more and more he reveals about what it's been like since he's been at Duke, the more and more I go, this dude is a pro quarterback. He's the free agent acquisition brought in to spice up the offense for a team that had a good defense. Because like everyone says, transfer portal is free agency, and I get it. But most colleges and most college athletes, while like operating within what seems like a free agency market, still pretend. Right? They still give off the good old college try vibes. Darien Mensah, and I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm kind of impressed by it. He is very much like this business. This offseason, he changed his quarterback coach. His new quarterback coach, by the way, this information was gathered when he joined ACC All Access. All ACC Access, get it? And gave them an interview yesterday. Changed his quarterback coach. I went and looked it up. His new coach is Daryl Colbert, the same guy that prepped Cam Ward for the draft. Cam Ward, the number 1 overall pick. So much so that Darien Mensah, his quarterback coach, and Cam Ward all got together and worked out in Nashville together. So now we know Darien Mensah has been working out at Duke. He's been working out in Tampa with his receivers. He's been working out in Nashville with the number 1 overall pick. Here's what Darien Mensah said he learned from Cam Ward.
One thing about him is he's highly competitive, and so just seeing that, and you know, I think he keeps that same chip on his shoulder that I think I have. It was cool to see, and the position that he's in, I think that that's somewhere that I would want to be one day as well.
And I started thinking about it. First of all, good work by the quarterback coach putting them together. Their stories are similar. Darien Mensah had 1 FBS offer out of high school, and Cam Ward had none. They both emerged statistically early in their career and transferred once their value was high enough to a power conference school, not a traditional football power. People think that Cam Ward, started at Washington State and then went to Miami, but he actually started at Incarnate Word, which is even a step down, maybe a handful of steps down from a school like Tulane, and then he went to Washington State, which would tell you Darien Mensah is kind of at the Washington State stop of his career. But it goes back to that professional thing, and I said this earlier this offseason talking about Darien Mensah. If he does really, really well for Duke, I wouldn't expect him to finish at Duke. How they've found you is how they'll leave you, right? He'll be in love with Duke, just like he talks about very fondly his time at Tulane, and he'll use a business decision to go find somewhere else where the NIL money is better and where he feels like he might be set up for the NFL better, just like Cam Ward did. Right? Washington State turned him into a college star. Miami turned him into the number 1 overall pick. From a Duke perspective, as far as looking at what we can predict for the season, Darien Mensah name-dropped some guys that he's excited to play with at Duke. Here's that audio.
I feel like we've got some new additions with Coop and Drell, who've, it's been a process with getting them involved. But it's been great to be back out on the field with my guys. Just super excited to go out this fall and play with them.
Name dropped Barcate, right? Coop. Drell, that's Andrell Anthony. So it's Cooper Barcate and Andrell Anthony. When talking about the offseason and guys they need to work in, Anthony is a transfer wide receiver from Oklahoma. Barcate is a transfer wide receiver from Harvard who had 1,000 yards and double-digit touchdowns last night. So you're looking for, not last night, last year. Last night, that would have been a good day.
That would have been impressive.
That would have been a good day. Or that meant he was playing college football video games.
Could be that too.
A couple thousand yards last night. 11 touchdowns. Also played defense. Got 7 interceptions. Those two, right, if you're looking for morsels of information you can grab, that might be the answer to one of the bigger questions for Duke this offseason about needing to replace playmakers on offense, right? Jordan Moore, Eli Pankel, their 2 number 1 and number 2 wide receivers, they're not walking through that door, right? They're trying to make a team in the NFL. as undrafted free agents.
And no Star Thomas as a running back either.
And no Star Thomas. So if you throw Anthony and Barcate into those roles, and maybe somebody like Jaquez Moore or Peyton, is it Peyton Thomas? I don't know why I'm blanking on that. First name Peyton, I know that. Guys that have had a little bit of experience as running backs in Duke's offense, you put them around Darien Mensah, that could be the answer. Right? That could be the thing. And Quayshawn Brown as well, the returner dynamic guy in space as maybe a more jack-of-all-trades wide receiver. There's something there. And it's all built around the fact that they're expecting Darien Mensah to have a big game, have a big day, have a big year. And on the ACC network, as all great athletes do, Darien Mensah's not forgetting where he came from. He doesn't forget that he had only one FBS offer.
I've always tried to keep that chip on my shoulder, knowing, I was an under-recruited guy. I think my team did a good job just making sure I just had to focus on football and nothing else. And so I kind of didn't even realize, how the position I was truly in. But all a blessing for sure.
Doesn't he, he just sounds like he went to the Peyton Manning school of talking to the media. Little folksy, little all shucksy, little self-depreciating. Nobody can tell a story about that time I got $3 million and make it sound more like, no, oh yeah, it's just me and didn't even realize what was going on. You got $3 million. Maybe more. Again, all reports on NIL evaluations are kind of, to be taken with a grain of salt. We don't know the structures of it. But it's pretty safe to say he's getting 7 figures this year and still somehow making it all shucksy. Oh, yeah, I don't know how I got here. All I'm doing is working with the number 1 overall pick's private quarterback coach and taking my receivers to Tampa for a week-long workout. Just hoping to play football, man. Just me and a ball on the field.
You could tell, though, a little bit underlying in his tone of yeah, I still have that chip on my shoulder. I only had the one FBS offer. Now here I am playing in the ACC and was one of the highest recruited guys in the transfer portal. I still have something to prove, and I'm hell-bent on proving it.
And make it clear, right? Because, I'm not sure it was this way for even Cam Ward. He's at Duke because he chose to be at Duke.
Yeah.
Right? He's in the ACC. If you're sitting there going well, that's still not even the premium. He could have played in the SEC. He could have gone darn near, not to any school, but definitely to any regional or conference group of schools. He was that desired, and he chose Duke as the next step. Now, if you ask him, and I did at ACC Kickoff, he'll tell you a lot of that had to do with Manny Diaz, and he believes in him as a coach and as a leader. There's probably a financial element to that as well, but he's a pro quarterback, man. He is a pro quarterback. He's working in the other free agent wide receivers, and they're trying to get their offense going before game 1. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We have football at 4 coming up next. I've been asked this question enough that I'm going to give it an answer. Can the Panthers join in on the fun and get in on the Micah Parsons sweepstakes if there is one? I'll give you my answer next.
Did you catch Luisito's header?
Yeah, I just recorded it on my new Samsung A36 5G phone I got for free at Total Wireless.
Oh, I'm actually live streaming the whole match with my new Samsung Tab A9 that I also got free at Total Wireless.
I got that tablet too.
And I got that phone too. We both got both.
Go!
Switch to Total Wireless and get both the Samsung A36 5G and the Samsung Tab A9 for free. For a limited time while supplies last, valid in store. Requires new phone activation on a Total 5G Unlimited plan or higher external port and ID verification and new activation on the Total 5G Unlimited 6-month tablet plan. Restrictions apply.
Hey, it's Paul Ihander from 99.9 The Fan for Clayton Homes. The Sign and Save sales event is happening now at Clayton Homes and Oakwood Homes, but only through August 31st. You can save up to $5,000 instantly on your new home. That's $2,500 off a single section or $5,000 off a multi-section home. Discover the comfort, the style, and the value of a Clayton-built home, crafted with North Carolina in mind. From modern floor plans to energy-saving upgrades and premium finishes, there's a home fitting your lifestyle and, of course, your budget. And with summer heating up, it's the perfect time to enjoy Energy Smart features for year-round comfort and savings. Stop by, tour our fully furnished models, or visit manufacturedhomeoffers.com and browse limited-time deals. But don't wait. The Sign and Save sales event ends August 31st. Terms and conditions for the Sign and Save sales event at manufacturedhomeoffers.com. Available only at participating retailers through 8/31. Amount of savings may be limited. Ask for details. May not be available with certain financing. Lender restrictions apply.
Give me a mountain with lots to do. Give me something simple and true. All I need is sunshine and a cool, refreshing Mountain Dew. Yes, give me my good friends. Give me a dew.
Grab some ice-cold Mountain Dew today.
Mountain Dew.
Hurry into Family Fare and get 2 20-ounce bottles of ice-cold Mountain Dew for just $4.29. Family Fare, first in thirst.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it.
That one back, that one going, gone!
Go to RitchieLaw.com.
That's RitchieLaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Today is a WRAL weather alert day due to the potential for flooding. We've had a number of flash flood warnings around the area, and some places have already seen 2 to 4 inches of rain. Just be careful. Don't drive your car into a flooded road. We'll continue to have heavy rain across the area through the evening. Our high this afternoon in the mid-70s.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb and Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones up 81 points to 44,193.
Let's move the chains. Time for football at 4.
Before we get to football at 4, I need to let you all know about where the party's at on August 21st. It's back. The second annual Numbers Game live show presented by Sharky's Place Sports Bar and Grill. Takes place Thursday, August 21st, where the perfect score Numbers Game contestants from the last year have all been invited to show up and settle it as competitors do, with knowledge of jersey numbers. Perfect players over the past year will battle the clock at the Hilton Raleigh North Hills, a fabulous hotel for all your needs. You can watch along, whether you are maybe a friend or family member or just an interested party in the Numbers Game live, and you want to see a sweet game show. You can watch as we crown our champion live on YouTube. Our YouTube live stream, search 99.9 The Fan. Matter of fact, subscribe now so you're already locked in, set alerts so you don't miss it. Special thanks to Onsite AV, a full-service event production company, for supplying the sights and sounds of Numbers Game Live. It's all happening August 21st. Hopefully you will join us. Now we can get into football at 4, in which I've been asked enough, so I do feel like it has warranted a response. I'm like, what's the I forget his name now. Will Ferrell in one of the Austin Powers, where if he's asked a question 3 times, he just has to answer. If you don't get that reference, it's fine. If I'm asked a question enough, I'll go, all right, fine, we'll address it on the show. We'll do it all at once. Can the Panthers join the Micah Parsons sweepstakes? Why wouldn't they trade for Micah Parsons? Why wouldn't they? The answer is they should look into it. Because everybody should. Okay, the answer is there's no reason not to. But here would be my expectation. The Panthers should look into it, and they should lose the bidding war. Not intentionally. I'm not saying you go in with like, hey, whatever the high bid is, we bid $10 less. I'm not saying you try to, but I'm saying with a universally attractive player, like a 26-year-old edge rusher, which, by the way, I put together a list. Let me see if I can find it somewhere. Here it is. Here's a smattering of players that are around the same age as Micah Parsons. Trayvon Merrick, Pat Jones, Chuba Hubbard, even a couple years younger than him, J.C. Horn, Bryce Young, Xavier Legette, Ike Ekwonu, obviously everybody from their last 2, the Panthers' last 2 drafts are younger than him. Like that, he would fit in with your core, right? He's 26 years old. He's one of the best edge rushers in the league. And by all accounts, he wants to get the heck out of Dallas. NFL Network's Cynthia Freeland says she has a trusted source that says Micah Parsons is unlikely to play for the Cowboys. There's reason enough to reach out. Maybe just a text to old Jerry, price check on Micah. Like, just what is it going to cost? Because you'd be foolish not to. You'd be foolish not to. You don't want to end up being every team other than the Lakers in the Luka trade. Right? Where once Luka was traded to the Lakers, everybody was like, wait, that's all it cost? I could have beat that. But they didn't even make the call, right? They didn't even get involved. Now, obviously, that one came more out of nowhere. But if you're like the Micah Parsons deal, you don't want to have him traded somewhere and go, that's all it took to get Micah Parsons? So call and get in the mix. But if you're the Panthers, again, I would expect to lose the bidding war. Because if everyone is in on Micah Parsons, universally attractive player, fits into every defense, versatile enough in his physical abilities that it doesn't matter if you play the 4-3, the 3-4, the bear front. It doesn't matter if you're in goal line every play. If you're some genius that thinks field goal block, every defensive play is the best for your team, Micah Parsons fits in. If every team is involved, you have to look at which teams should be willing to give more, and the Panthers are not near the top of that list. They aren't. Other teams have more of their needs already fulfilled. You know, it's ironic because, you know, so often I want to compare like Panther situations to Carolina Hurricanes situations. And it's just the difference in where they are as programs, despite the fact that ownership took over at about the same time, is absurd. But going into this offseason, what were we saying about the Carolina Hurricanes? They had a ton of money under the cap. They had a ton of picks. They had a ton of prospects, right? They could overpay if they had to get what they wanted because they had, what was it, like 8 or 9 players of their core already locked up to very reasonable, decent long-term contracts. So they went in with, what's the price? We'll go above that if they need to, right? They could overpay and it wouldn't cripple them in any way. So other teams that were like, actually, our cap situation isn't incredible. We don't have most of our core locked up. We don't have most of our roster already set. They still are going to be interested in Nikolai Ehlers, or they're still going to be interested in whoever the Canes were talking to. But the Canes were looking at them going, we don't have to worry about them because they can't pay as much as we can. Right? So the Panthers are now on the opposite side of where the Canes are, going, yeah, we should be in, but there's a team out there that has most of their lineup situated. They don't need their first-round picks next year. They don't need, the Panthers, by the way, I think they should be willing to give up first for Micah Parsons, but that will hurt them more, right? Because they need those first-round picks to hit. They need those first-round picks to fill other needs. Another team might be able to give up their first-round picks and go, well, I mean, we're probably going to be drafting a backup anyway because, we're already pretty well set. So the Panthers should be in the mix, but then you have to be super disciplined. You have to go in with, get Brant Tillis, your contracts guy, get Dan Morgan, your dog of a GM, get Dave Canales, your coach, and whoever else you need in a room and decide what your top number is. And then have the self-discipline not to go, double it, like when it comes down to it, because having Micah Parsons would feel that good.
What if Dallas asks, I'm sure they would probably want a player as well in return, not just picks, because they need someone that could play right now. What if they asked for, 2 firsts and Nick Scorton?
In.
Yeah?
Oh, absolutely in. And also, I'd probably ask for some kind of a pick back just because you're going to need to have rookies to complete your roster.
Sure.
But Nick Scorton is not a deal breaker of any kind.
No, but again, you're talking about, young player. I'm just curious, what he and New Mamiellan are their top young edge rushers on their team.
And they would fall dramatically short of Micah Parsons.
Oh, no, I 100% agree. But it's going to cost at least 2 first-round picks at minimum.
But there's my point. Like that, I do think the hypothetical you brought up is that's a conversation. Like I said because I don't actually have that power. If I were the GM and then you came in and said, Jerry just offered this, I would have to get people in a room and I would have to go, are we sure we want to do this? We've traded away first-round picks in the past and it's come back to bite us. Let's have these conversations. And then the reality is, if you go to a couple other teams in the NFL and said, a second-round pick and 2 firsts, they'd go, I'll give you 4. I'll give you a couple fourths on top just to get it done today.
Sure.
There are other teams. So it's where the Panthers have to start doing right. It's like anyone that's ever bought a house, right? A house that's 10% more than your budget, for some reason looks like it's worth twice as much. It's every time I've ever bought a house, you set a budget, whatever the dollar amount is, and it's always if you just spend 10% more, you get a pool, you get double the square footage, you get 7 acres of land, and it's how? But hopefully, you're financially responsible. You're no, we set this limit for a reason. You get a house that's within your affordability. Where the Panthers are already starting to go all right, let's talk about it. Could we make this work? Right? We could stop going out to eat so much. There's another team out there that's going oh, yeah, we'd be in at that. And they don't have to think about it. And that's the difference. And then just since I brought it up, this is different than the Bryce Young trade. Okay. The trade that they went up to the number 1 overall pick to get Bryce Young, and it came back to bite them, right? Because they gave up the future first, and that future first ended up being the number 1 overall pick. And the draft picks that they gave up ended up being players that ended up playing and doing all right for the Bears. The thing and DJ Moore, they ended up signing to a long-term extension, and the Panthers were still looking for wide receivers. Obviously in this draft where they took Tedero McMillan. The difference is multi-pronged. One, Micah is proven, right? Trading for Bryce Young, as surefire of a prospect as you think somebody is, there's really no such thing as a surefire prospect, right? There's really no such thing as the can't miss. Maybe there's been 3. People tell me that Elway was that way, Peyton Manning was that way, and Andrew Luck was that way. If that's the case, Bryce Young wasn't it. So you were still trading for a lotto ticket in some way there. Micah Parsons is proven. He is a top-of-the-line NFL defensive player. But then the other difference is you're not getting him on a rookie contract. You'd be trading for him and then having to give him probably $42 million a year, or else you'll be in the same situation the Dallas Cowboys are. So where the value kind of settles there might be similar too, but it's a very different beast because you can put him in and expect elite play right away, where with Bryce you would be hoping for elite play right away. It would be a kind of baller move if the Panthers trade away their first-round pick next year, though.
Oh, yeah.
To once again bet on themselves and say, I know we messed this up last time thinking we were going to be picking much later in the first when we traded away a first-round pick. We're not messing it up this time. We will be picking late this time next year, which Panther fans out there are going all right, you better be right this time. It really does stink watching someone else make the first overall pick that you earned. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We have a ladder challenge and our latest edition of Blind Rankings coming up. But first, Dennis Cox has something for you.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here for Loan Pronto. Are you maxed out on credit cards? Are you struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client recently just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. It's a massive turnaround. Instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, folks, your home equity, It's yours. Use it. Take advantage of it to get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy, low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. LoanPronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, gets to our competition, the Ladder Challenge, coming up.
Get ready.
Concepcion touchdown, 13 yards. NC State leads North Carolina with 8:01 to play.
College football kicks off August 23rd.
Jones a first down and more. 10-5. They've tied the game. Bully ball by the Duke offense. Down the far sideline, caught at the 10, the 5. Touchdown, Carolina.
On 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Did you hear? A recent stash of $10 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s. And less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-917-4635 and you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-917-4635. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-917-4635 now to secure your $10 gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-917-4635.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Turn things all the way up and find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Please subscribe to our YouTube, 99.9 The Fan. Constantly pushing out content there, and you want to already be subscribed and set up alerts, the little bell in the corner, for when football season gets here in earnest, right? The joint practices are today. Preseason for the Carolina Panthers starts Friday. We're knocking on the door of college football season. You don't want to miss anything, so head to our YouTube, 99.9 The Fan, and get ready to roll. Tell your friends about it. Also, right now, tell your friends about the Ladder Challenge. Let's go.
Oh, my God! And for the 20-foot ladder with a spear on Jeff Hardy. For the love of God, Jeff Hardy may be broken. Smack dab in half.
New intro to the Ladder Challenge. I wasn't expecting that.
Got to let the people know.
Ladder Challenge. And I realized that we went back to our original format for August, and I haven't really explained it very well, so I'll do it very quickly. The Ladder Challenge was a social media betting challenge a while ago that we've turned into a competition. Basically, what you try to do is find one bet per day between -500 and -1,000, which would tell you they are likely to win, right? If you are a sports diehard, you feel like you should be able to find one a day, -500, -1,000, that would win. And if you do that consecutively for weeks and or a month, you don't just like win a couple bucks. You end up, 8, 9, 10xing your money, timesing your money in a big way by something that seems like the same principle as compound interest, right? Because you roll over your stake and winnings to the next day, the next day, the next day. You keep winning and winning and winning, and then you're good to go. So with that being said, let's get into it. Did you win last night?
I did.
Yeah, so did I. We're very in sync over the last couple of weeks. Go ahead and explain yours. You have the lead.
So I do have the lead. I had Justin Verlander's strikeouts thrown. I'm sorry, I take that back. I actually had pitcher for the Kleber for the Baltimore Orioles. Actually, I should take that back. Had 4+ hits allowed yesterday, which won for me. It was a minus 650 bet. So I'm up to $13.07.
$13.07 for you. I am up to $11.53 after Yu Darvish had. I needed him to have 3 or more strikeouts versus the Diamondbacks last night. He had 5.
There you go.
Winner, chicken dinner. What are you betting on tonight?
So for the St. Louis Cardinals, their starting pitcher Matthew Liberatore against the Los Angeles Dodgers, I just need him to give up 4 or more hits against the Dodgers today. That's a minus 900. So my 13.07 will turn into 14.52. Feel good about that one. You're playing the Dodgers.
You feel good about? All right. Yeah, I mean, the Dodgers, what is it, the best team money can buy?
Yeah.
I'm going to the WNBA.
Oh, okay.
Baseball, I'm not good at it. Sometimes you got to know what you don't know, right? I enjoy watching baseball. Apparently, I'm not good at predicting it. Jewel Lloyd to make 1 or more 3-point shot versus the Golden State Valkyries for the Las Vegas Aces tonight.
Okay.
It's minus 500, so it's the most payout you can have within our parameters. Went back and looked it all up, including preseason. Jewel Lloyd has made at least 1 3 in 28 of 33 games. It's about 85% hit rate. And I guess the WNBA does this where you kind of do a home and home back-to-back. So you have a game at one of their locations and a couple days off, then they play in the other location. So Vegas played Golden State on Sunday, and Jewel Lloyd hit 7 threes. Now they're going to play again today. Even if she's the other team focuses on you, after you make 7 threes against a team, you go into the next game letting it fly. You're like, I got it, right? Watch this. Shoof. I only need 1. I need 1 or more 3 for Jewel Lloyd. It'll turn my 11.53 into 13.83. Let's go, Jewel Lloyd. Also, the last couple of days have been slow for Asia Wilson.
Yeah.
Who's kind of the stud of the Las Vegas Aces. So if she's slow scoring-wise, somebody else got to pick it up. Enter Jewel Lloyd. Now enter the blind rankings. So here's how it works. Dennis picks a category, and we go 1 through 5. I have to rank them without knowing what's coming next. So he'll give me an option, something within the category, and I'll say, all right, that seems like second best or second in the category. And then he'll give me another one, and I have to put it somewhere else. And then we see how the list looks at the end. We go 1 through 5, first, second, third, fourth, fifth. Dennis, what's the blind ranking for today?
We are doing ACC football quarterbacks.
Okay, ACC QBs. I'll write that at the top just so I don't forget.
All right,
I am prepared.
Let's start it off. Carson Beck, Miami.
Carson Beck. All right. For those of you that don't know, Carson Beck started for Georgia last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Transferred to Miami, reportedly a big NIL deal. They're trying to do kind of the same thing they did with Cam Ward, get a guy in there for 1 year, have him play great. I would say after his first year starting at Georgia, everybody was probably too high on Carson Beck. After his second year starting at Georgia, the injury transfers to Miami, there's probably a bit of a overcorrection in the other direction. People are now almost he's the butt of jokes. He's still a talented individual. I'll put him third. Carson Beck gets to start right there in the middle at 3.
Okay. So you have Carson Beck 3, Kevin Jennings, SMU.
All right, it feels more like he's at 3. Which makes it tough. Kevin Jennings, I'm not as high on everybody else as Kevin Jennings is. I think I'm not as high on Kevin Jennings as everybody else is.
Oh, okay.
I'm doing a lot of weird verbal
It's the rain.
ticks
It
today.
happens.
I need to see it twice before I believe in Kevin Jennings. I think there was a bit of lightning in the bottle element for SMU last year. They're 16th in the coaches poll to start the year. I think that's a little rich. So I'm going to put I'm hoping you have some studs coming up. I'm putting Kevin Jennings at 4th, which isn't ideal, but I think it sets me better up for the rest of the options that I think might be coming.
Okay. CJ Bailey, NC State.
I think I got to go 5th. I'm fine with that because unless you have some real stinkers coming up here, I think everyone we've heard thus far is like a top 7 or 8 quarterback in the ACC right now. So I'm hoping that you have some of the top guys coming up next because if you throw me a bad one, it's going to look real bad.
Okay, so
go ahead.
So I said Carson Beck first, Miami quarterback. You put him at 3. Put Kevin Jennings, SMU. You put him at number 4. I said CJ Bailey here on the blind ranking, NC State. You put him at number 5.
Word.
Okay. Next one up here on our list, Haynes King, Georgia Tech.
I'll put him 2. I always leave one open. I'm leaving one open. I'm giving Haynes King 2. I think as a college quarterback, Haynes King is really good. I
enjoy watching that dude play a ton.
And yeah, there could be that. It could be, as a former quarterback, I like quarterbacks that make us seem tough. Like football players. He to me is he's a football player. He's kind of a throwback, and he makes sense with Georgia Tech, their history of running the football. I think Jamal Haynes, their running back, is going to have a big year, and Haynes King is going to build the offense off of that. Obviously, I think of the 4 we've heard, I think he's probably the 4th rated NFL prospect, but I have no problem with him being one of the top quarterbacks in the ACC as a college quarterback this year.
Yeah, he's dude's tough as nails too.
Plays through injuries. I have to use my favorite quote, right? What was it? What's his Rutherford? I think was his last name. The wide receiver we talked to from Georgia Tech at ACC Media Day. We were talking to him about Haynes King's leadership, and he said, when you're not following God, you're following Haynes. That's such a baller line to say about your quarterback, your leader, right? Like you're either following God or you're following Haynes is such an awesome line. So, Haynes King gets to be number 2. I'm not sure if everyone will agree with it, but I'm comfortable with that.
Okay, so you had Carson Beck 3. I'm just going to go in order of the names I gave you. You had Carson Beck out of Miami 3, Kevin Jennings, SMU 4, CJ Bailey, NC State 5, Haynes King, Georgia Tech 2, and the number 1 slot open here on your blind ranking now officially goes to Kyron Drones, Virginia Tech.
What? Kyron Drones. That is a real list ruiner there. Golly.
Is he even going to start the entire season for Georgia Tech? I'm sorry, for Virginia Tech?
I mean, he did. He's physically gifted, but man. You know who his quarterback coach is? His private quarterback coach?
Who?
The same one that's quarterback coach for Mensah and Cam Ward.
Oh, really?
I was on the so for those of you that weren't listening earlier, Darian Mensah, the quarterback for Duke, got a new private quarterback coach this offseason, and he's also the quarterback coach that got Cam Ward ready for the draft. And if you go to that quarterback coach's Colbert is his last name, the quarterback coach's website, you can click on the tab of coaches or quarterbacks trained, and there are 17 graphics for Cam Ward, 15 graphics for Shedeur Sanders. There's one all the way at the bottom for Kyron Drones, and I was like, "Oh, Drones, that guy too. Look at that." Oh man, I thought for sure we'd be getting. I thought Mensah might be up there. Thought Miller Moss might be up there. Yeah.
Eli Holstein from Pitt.
Eli Holstein got where did I see him? Oh, in the Athletics Heisman Trophy draft where they drafted players to win the Heisman Trophy. Holstein was a 2nd or 3rd round pick.
Really?
Yeah, Holstein was up there. Miller Moss was up there.
So, yeah, there you go. Oh, your blind rankings, again, in order of the selection here. You got Carson Beck from Miami 3. You got Kevin Jennings from SMU 4. CJ Bailey from NC State 5. Haynes King, number 2 from Georgia Tech. And then number 1, blind ranking quarterbacks in the ACC, Kyron Drones, Virginia Tech.
Yeah,
what if at the end of the season that's correct? We look back at the end of the year and Kyron Drones was ACC Player of the Year.
Then
we say we called it.
Yeah, then I'm 100% taking credit for this.
Yeah.
I think what I'm learning, because we've been doing this, the blind rankings kind of becoming a thing here on Wednesdays about this time. I think what I'm learning is I need to stop being so precious with the one spot. Like, if you get a guy who's close, throw him in the one so you don't get caught with one you really don't want at the one. It's better to have somebody who's really good at number 2 than it is to leave the one open and just leave it to fate.
Yeah.
Because Drones is no disrespect to Drones. I think he's a good, especially like with his physical talents, he's a good college quarterback. I would not take him over any of the 4 beneath him.
That's why it's a blind ranking, Tim.
I was blind. But now I see. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Goodness gracious. Like, I don't even know. I feel like a competitive, like I just lost a match or something. There was no, like, I wasn't competing against anybody there. Nobody did better than I did, although many of you probably would have. But there's no way to know that. All right. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time to jump ahead to Hit It and Quit It.
I want you to hit it.
We have a couple of different options here to start with. I'll get it started with one, Dennis, that you don't even have on the list. I'm going rogue.
Oh, okay.
You're a former college coach. You've been a leader of a team of elite athletes.
9 years I did it.
Mike Vrabel of the New England Patriots, the head coach.
Yeah.
Bloodied at practice when he jumped into a pile of players at Wednesday's practice. I guess trying to break up a little bit of a brouhaha. Good move, bad, like head coach, good move, bad move. What do you think? Is this how you rally the troops? Like, I'm willing to jump in with you. Or is it a little like, dude, you're the coach. You're supposed to be above that stuff.
Yes.
He held a bag of ice on his right cheek and had to be looked at.
You know what? Hey, guys, I'm willing to take one. I'm willing to take one. If I'm willing to get in there to break up a scuffle without a helmet or pads on, you darn well better be.
I like
nails. I like it.
I haven't seen videos of it or anything, but I only hope that somebody was like a punch was in midair towards Drake May and he dove in and took it off the chin.
Yeah.
As like I put my body on my line for my guy.
Just taking bullets over here.
This quick story I'll tell. It's one of my earliest memories of college football. I grew up in Hawaii, like starting like 5th or 6th grade. This was University of Hawaii. June Jones, for those of you that don't know, legendary football coach. Think some of the best passing offenses in the history of college football. There was it was the Hawaii Bowl, which every year was on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. Degenerate gamblers know what I'm talking about. And there was a pretty big fight. I think it was with Cincinnati. And I'm talking both sidelines cleared. There was a guy using a crutch, so an injured player was using the crutch as a baseball bat. At one point, a University of Hawaii linebacker came out of the scuffle with a University of Cincinnati helmet and was running down the field holding it up like it was almost like Braveheart or something, and he was running away like with the decapitation. It was a big thing. Crowd was going wild. And I just remember June Jones, the coach, sitting there, and it looked like he was taking notes. He had like a clipboard, and it looked like he was just writing stuff down. And all I could think of when I was probably 12, was going, he's probably writing down who's going to have to run. He's probably going, there's a punch thrown. That's a 5:30 workout. That guy, yep, he's a 5:30 workout. He'll be running on the beach. That's not going to be fun. Wall sits for him, yep. Just calm as anything. Vrabel, if he was in that situation, would have been in the middle throwing the people's elbow, defending his guys. All right, let's quit that.
Oh, by the way, Panthers joint practice today with the Browns, like a couple like shove type things here and there a little bit, but like none of the fights, none of those kinds of things. And according to Canales and even Kevin Stefanski, the head coaches, everyone's like, yeah, we both came in here, like we got our work done. The intensity was high, the physicality was there, but everyone did what they were supposed to do and did it the right way, which I got to give credit to both teams in that regard for not being stupid.
Solved.
Right.
I
did settle it on Friday.
I did see one that was described as like a scuffle, but then later descriptions were Jenkins, who's I think a secondary guy for the Browns, I guess met somehow. I don't know if it was a tackle, a wrap-up, whatever, with Chuba Hubbard. And Chuba Hubbard, while jawing, tossed the football at him. And Jenkins caught the football and threw it back at Chuba. So it's that to me is almost like, I don't know, like a elementary school, like not really a real scuffle, more of like a all right, everybody, go back to your huddle. Let's quit that. Let's hit this.
So ESPN struck a couple of deals yesterday, a couple of deals that were announced. One with the NFL and also one with the WWE as well. Let's get into the NFL one first, Tim.
Mm-hmm.
So ESPN is allowing the NFL to have 10% ownership of its network. So NFL's going to own 10% of ESPN.
Yes.
In exchange, ESPN's getting the NFL network. They're going to get not the digital portion of Red Zone, but they're going to have the branding of Red Zone and also the Red Zone channel that they can put out on linear TV and so forth. And also they're basically merging NFL fantasy football and ESPN fantasy football, merging together. And ESPN's going to get some more games that are going to be able to air on their network since they're going to have NFL Network and so on. All this kind of building into the direct-to-consumer platform that ESPN is launching later on this month. Tim, I don't know about you, but I feel conflicted about a media company that covers the NFL as extensively as it does being partially owned by the league that it covers. I think there really, truly is a conflict of interest there, and that part of it I do not like at all.
I hear you, and I think it's something that needs to be monitored. But I also think, like, the NFL Network or people employed by the NFL Network haven't exactly... Like, I don't see, like, Ian Rappaport's updates and go, like, this guy's never really honest with the NFL, even though he's been working for a media company that was owned entirely by the NFL. So, I think it's probably where we as a consumer base have to continue, like, if we catch whiffs of, like, state-owned propaganda, then we have to be willing to, make sure we watch, I don't know, CBS or something. Like, we're going to be the ultimate watch guard, right? Because it goes both ways, meaning the NFL owns 10% of ESPN. The NFL wants ESPN to be successful. So if ESPN starts lagging, if their content starts dipping, we stop watching it because they're not being honest or as entertaining as they could be because they're sugarcoating everything about the NFL. That hurts the NFL also because they own 10% of ESPN. So I think it just needs to be watched. You need to have media reporters kind of doing the dirty work and tracking everything, and it's I also don't want to ignore what I think could be the good, which would be, like, I think ESPN simply does content better than the NFL Network or NFL has done.
Oh, for sure.
So if ESPN gets more access to the NFL, I think they can put together some stuff that would be really, really cool. It's hard for me to know until we see it, but I agree there are some conflicts of interest that are going to be very obvious, but I also think it's almost, they're so obvious that they're so on Front Street that it's like you can't really hide it.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if we're going to get to a point where the NFL tells ESPN, we don't want you covering this a certain way because it might be a negative look on the NFL and the league as a whole. In terms of, if there's a scandal involving Roger Goodell or whatever it might be, how much is the league going to step in and say, we don't like the way that you're doing this content right now, therefore change it. Otherwise, it's a non-binding deal. Otherwise, hey, deal's off. Like, that's a major thing that can happen.
Until the deal is approved, both sides are going to be on their P's and Q's as far as keeping each other happy until the deal is, approved by, the regulatory commissions or whatever has to be done. But then once, again, I don't know enough about being in the C-suite. I've never been a CFO of a company. How much does a 10% owner, how much sway does a 10% owner really have? Like, we see all these minority stakeholders in NFL. Like, I don't think, Aaron Rodgers has any say over the Milwaukee Bucks, but I don't know how much he owns.
But the fact that it's a non-binding deal could tell me that the NFL could be like, we'll give our 10% back. We're just going to take back all this property.
So that can happen even after the deal is
Yeah, it's a non-binding deal.
Well, that feels foolish.
I mean, that's how I read. I could be completely wrong in that regard. But anyway, I find it interesting. But a lot of this content could live on ESPN's direct-to-consumer platform, which again comes out later this month. Also in 2026, the WWE, they call them premium live events. We know them as pay-per-views. WrestleMania, SummerSlam, all those things.
Sure.
They're going to live now on ESPN's streaming platform as well, as opposed to what it has been over the last few years on Peacock.
Now, I'm not nearly the wrestling fan that many of our listeners, and you are.
Yeah.
So what's the significance of this?
So the thing that's frustrating as a wrestling fan is if I want to watch Monday Night Raw, I have to have Netflix. I have to have that streaming platform. But then if I wanted to watch WrestleMania or SummerSlam, I had to have Peacock. Now I have to get ESPN in order to watch the premium stuff. So I have to have all these different... I mean, I get that WWE wants to diversify and put their stuff in many different places, but it's very difficult as a wrestling fan to have to pay for all these things. Whereas in the past, before they sold the WWE network to Peacock, WWE had its own streaming platform. Really before you had Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, or any of these other streaming platforms. You could watch all the WrestleManias, the SummerSlams, Money in the Bank, Survivor Series, all that through their network directly. And it was wonderful because you had original content, libraries, all that stuff right there in one place. I hate the fact that I have to go to 4 different places to find their content. I don't like it.
So I will say, as trepidatious or as kind of hesitant as I am to see like ESPN and the NFL merging or the thing you're referencing, if it streamlines the process so we don't have to have 900 different passwords to watch stuff that we want to watch and 900 different streaming apps, I'm kind of in. Because I like, with this NFL ESPN thing, I believe that means the Europe games, the overseas games that are starting at 9 a.m. on, a bunch of Sundays during the NFL season. I believe that means they can be on wherever ESPN kind of exists.
Mm-hmm.
I like not waking up and going, oh, man, what's my NFL I got to get the YouTube TV password. Jeez. Oh, man. Sorry, the TV's set up on Amazon Prime because we watched on Thursday night, and then it's on ESPN for Monday night, and then I just had the CBS regular for Sunday, and now we got the NFL Network. What number is the NFL Network? Like, I just hate that so much. Whose phone number is connected to it? They're going to get a code. Can you send me the code? I hate all of it. So if we could just get, I don't care if the NFL and ESPN went like 50-50 ownership in each. If we could have every NFL game on one place, it would be awesome. That'd probably be an even bigger conflict of interest, but hey, what are you going to do? The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Dennis is waving his paper at me. That means he has something to tell you.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Law Tigers. As a motorcycle rider, always make sure that you are in the proper place in the lane. So this is actually something I want to keep in mind for people that are out there driving. Motorcycle riders don't ride in the middle part of the lane. They're going to either be to the to the left or the right side of the lane, because riding in the center of the lane, that's where all the oil and all the fluids drop out from the engine of cars. Well, that's the stuff you don't want to get on your tires. That's where, as a motorcycle rider, you lose traction. That's where accidents can possibly happen. So keep that in mind when you see motorcyclists out there on the road, especially ones that are riding in groups. They're always going to ride side by side or staggered side by side on different sides of the lane as opposed to directly down the middle. So always keep that in mind when you are seeing a motorcyclist next to you if you're going down the highway, not to drift over, because that's where an accident potentially could happen. So always check your blind spots. Keep an eye out there for the motorcyclist. But also, it's the onus on you as a motorcycle rider to make sure that you are visible when you are out there on the road. Keep that in mind as well. Make sure you're as visible as possible to other drivers. But accidents do happen, and this is where Law Tigers steps in for you. Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS if you're injured in a motorcycle accident. Again, 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, because Law Tigers is there for you as a motorcycle rider. They are part of the motorcycle riding community, so they know what you're going through after an accident and what your bike and gear are worth. Your case evaluation is always free, and they don't get paid a dime until your case settles. So call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle injury lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, will be back with the blank or failure. What is the minimum level of success for the 3 college football teams in the ACC right here in the Triangle? Basically, what is necessary to prevent all-out, full-scale panic for each of these teams? I'll tell you next.
Move your sports day forward.
A public service announcement on the dangers of hopium. Yes, hopium, a powerful substance before a season starts. Every NFL fan gets a taste, especially with the Carolina Panthers, where it seems continuity has created a side effect: the use of the word playoffs. One piece of advice: until they lead the division, just say no.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
It's bow time. Something new just dropped at Bojangles. Take the bold taste of a crispy golden chicken supreme that's been seasoned to perfection, then add dill pickles, Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, and a toasted bun that's great on the go. What do you get? You get a Bo's Bird Dog. In fact, you can grab 2 of them for $5. So when you're on the go, headed to practice, or need a snack, grab a Bo's Bird Dog. Hurry in before they're gone. Available for a limited time. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time, but sometimes it's go time. No time to stop, but the perfect time for a Bojangles Bird Dog. A seasoned to perfection Bojangles Chicken Supremes, dill pickles, and Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, all tucked inside a toasted bun. Great on the go. Try 2 bird dogs for just $5 or 2 bird dog combo for just $8.25. Available for limited time only. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
Looking for a big new game to play? Well, there's no game bigger than the new dino-sized Jurassic Park scratch-off from the North Carolina Education Lottery, which gives you a chance to win up to $200,000 instantly. And if that weren't enough, you can enter for a chance to win an exciting trip to beautiful Hawaii, where you could win up to $1 million. Welcome to Jurassic Park. Adventure awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 4.28. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
And from the shotgun, here's Murphy. Here's the snap. It's Star Thomas, cuts right! Touchdown! Star Thomas into the end zone! And it's 20-13 with the extra point to come.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We are inching closer to the football season. So I believe it's important to start setting your parameters, not just your expectations for what you think is possible or what you think would be good, not just thinking about the ceiling, which is what everybody wants to do, right? If everything breaks our way, we could be in the CFP, says every single team across the entire country. If so-and-so is as good as we think they are, our offense would be top 10 in the country. But also you got to do the opposite, right? What is the absolute bare minimum? What is the blank or failure, right? Do this or the angry mob is going to come for you, right? Do this or somebody's going to have to pay. Somebody's going to have to answer. Somebody's going to have to accept the blame. Blank or failure for each of the 3 teams in the ACC right here in the Triangle. Dennis, which would you like to hear first?
Let's go with NC State.
NC State. This is less tangible. Here's where I have NC State blank or failure. More wins than UNC.
Oh, okay.
Because there's the rivalry, right? And
sure.
and Dave Doran has never shied away from it, right? He's never acted as if that game doesn't, just another game. No, like after those games, Salty Dave pops up. He says some things. So like that rivalry is acknowledged. But more importantly, Dave Doran has been building his program his way, learning lessons, right? Making mistakes and saying, I've learned from them, and the next year I'm going to be better. And bringing in guys that he feels are right for the program for over a decade, like well over a decade. So if you have all of that you have all of that head start, and then Belichick rolls in, scrambles together a team, 41 players, 40-plus players out of the transfer portal, 30-something freshmen, new coaches, not a ton of college football coaching experience, figuring it out as he goes. And if he puts together a team and immediately outperforms what you've spent over a decade kind of building, I think that's one of those things that is going to be like, whoa, right? Because what you preach patience, right? If you have a season that doesn't go the way you want, you say, yeah, but we're building something here. Yeah, but we're, this year didn't go the way we want, but we have reason to believe the future is going to be brighter. If somebody shows up and in 6 months not only catches up but passes, can you really spin the future line? Can you really say, like, yeah, but, it just takes time to build something like this? And it's like, it didn't for them. So I think it is very important, without, making it true, keeping your blinders on, right? You're not watching the other horse the entire race. I do think for quite a few supporters and fans of, and maybe even administrators for State, it's like, well, you better be above the guy that just showed up, regardless of his resume. You want Duke or UNC next? Or do you agree or disagree? Might be a better way to
I think it's an interesting way of viewing it, if having more wins than Carolina, because, like you said, there's the hype train with Bill Belichick. You can sit there and point down the road. It's like, yeah, well, we did better than him. I mean,
exactly.
that's a big thing. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Let's go. Since you mentioned North Carolina, okay, what's the bare minimum for Carolina?
I think you get inherently a longer leash your first year. I'm putting bowl eligibility.
Really, just 6-6.
6-6, and I like, this is by the way, like a credit, right, to the UNC fans that I've spoken with, that we've interacted with here on the show. I don't know if pleasantly surprised is the right way, but surprised for sure by the realistic response to expectations for UNC. I assumed. And maybe it's because, like, the few teams that I'm like a true fan, like I'm a Mets fan, right? Like, I know you get your imagination to run away with you when cool things happen, right? When the Mets got a new owner and they spent a boatload of money, even though I had, years and years and years of Mets fandom just beating me down, as soon as, like, that cool thing happened and we had high-priced players, I'm like, oh, they were great. We're going to win this. We're going to win that. Hasn't exactly happened. But I was there. So I kind of expected the same when Belichick took the UNC job, that UNC fans would forget about all of the things that had held back Mac Brown, or all of the things that hasn't worked out for coaches in the past, and just go, but Bill Belichick's here. 10 wins or bust. And there has been some of that, but not nearly as much as I would have expected. I've gotten more, we did a feedback frenzy yesterday. There was a lot of this. More like, not this year, next year is where we let our imaginations run wild. This year, we understand it's a team thrown together, so many new players. The coaches are going to have to figure out the college game. There's a learning curve here. So I don't think anybody would be happy with 6 wins. But or bowl eligibility, so 6 or 7 wins, right, if you win the bowl. I don't think anybody would be happy with that for UNC, but I think what that would really do is just ramp up the pressure for the next year, right? If you're not a bowl eligible team, then I think people are going to start. You're going to be the laughing stock. There's going to be jokes at your expense. There will be people saying that the game has passed so and so by, and all of that. But as long as you get to a bowl, I think the fans will just say, all right, there's your one, right? Like, it was just barely good enough. Next year, big jump, no more excuses. We gave you one.
And it might take UNC a few weeks to really figure it out. Like, all these new guys, new coaching staff, it's just, you really don't know what they have.
And if you want to get really intangible with it, you like 6 wins or bowl eligibility and a noticeable difference between game 1 and game 12.
Yeah.
Like, you need to show that everybody is clicking and everybody is figuring it out, which I would expect will happen. Like, I think UNC will be a much better team at the end of the year than the beginning of the year. if that's happening, that goes a long way towards making a 6 in the win column feel better when it's like, well, we started 1-4, right? And then I don't know, don't have their schedule in front of me. I don't know if 1-4 is realistic. But if you go like 1-3 in your first 4 true challenges, your first 4 tough games, but you still win 6 games and go to a bowl, that's a different beast than if you started 5-0 and finished 6-6, right? So if there's context on all of these if you really look into it. And finally, Duke. I struggled with this one, right? Because we played the audio for you yesterday. Justin Pickett, one of their offensive linemen, said the new bar is 9 wins. They want to go play in the CFP. His words, not mine. That's aggressive. They obviously have made a financial commitment to football in a big way with some of the NIL reports that we've heard. But I still settled on 7 wins. 7 wins, which I guess feels low, but here's my justification. Year 1 of Mike Elko. What did Duke win? 9 games.
Yeah.
And everybody got really, really excited, right? Elko was turning it around. The young quarterback was there, and Riley Leonard. They had all this excitement. Year 2, what did they have? 8 wins. And everybody was still furious when Mike Elko left because they believed in what he was building. 9 wins, 8 wins, and everybody, like there was nobody hopping out of the bandwagon, right? Everybody was all in. They were mad with how it played out with Mike Elko, and everybody was still believing. So what happens in year 1 of Manny Diaz? 9 wins. Obviously, 8 wins wouldn't be an issue because everybody was still all the way in with Mike Elko with 8 wins in year 2.
And that's also Riley Leonard got hurt during that year 2 as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be context on all of it, right?
Yeah.
If you know they lost a bunch of 30-point leads and they gave them up, it'd be a different beast. But like if 8 is definitely okay, 7 is probably okay too. Right, because it's not. Maybe 8 is definitely okay, and 7 is just okay. 6 feels like that would be very disappointing. 6 would be, at the very least, you're considering like shaking up your coordinators. All right, you're hitting the portal heavy the next year. Like 6 feels like a real bummer, but I think 7 is kind of just we knew we were going to have to deal with some changes, and we don't consider this a step back. So I think Duke is 7 wins is your, don't panic, don't call for jobs if you win 7 or more at Duke. UNC, 6. State, 1 more than UNC. And I think that, again, you're not happy about any of those. Those are the bare minimum, right? That is, nothing exciting at all. I was walking into a hotel room and you've got a bed. It's like, well, all right, no TV, right? The air conditioner's loud, but hey, I got a bed, so I'm good. I'll stay here. I'll be tired enough. I'm fine. That I'm not excited. I'm not telling anybody about it. I'm not raving and being excited. It's just the bare minimum. Anything lower than that, disaster.
So let's get back to you mentioned with NC State having more wins than Carolina should be their bare minimum. And you said 6-6, like bowl eligibility essentially for UNC. Let's say that's the case. Let's say North Carolina, they're 6-6, they're bowl eligible, and State finishes with 7-5. I
think
that's more than what North Carolina did, but I'm sure State fans would not be happy with that at all.
Wouldn't be happy with it at all, but I think then you can say, see, it's hard. It's not easy to, we are building something here, and again, then it becomes down to context. I thought about this, right, just to take you through my entire thought process. I thought about throwing, for NC State, 7 wins if they beat UNC and ECU, or 9 wins if they lose one of those as theirs. But then I ended up pivoting back to more than UNC.
The reason why I push on that is the fact that you say, okay, NC State can say we're building on something, but Dave Doran's been there since 2013. Bill Belichick just got here in November.
100%.
So, I mean, that's you have to look at it on both sides of that regard. It's like, well, the guy that just came in down the road, you're still only one game better than him. And who's to say that he doesn't get the machine rolling as he figures it out? Like I said, Doran's been there since 2013. I don't think State fans are going to settle for just being 7-5 if Carolina goes 6-6.
I mean, if it's an ugly 7-5, I hear you. I can't give every specific context, but also, they were 6-7 last year. It would be an improvement. Winning 7 games would be a step in the right direction, technically. There's also a world where, and I completely would understand this, if there's a State fan out there that says if State doesn't win 10 games this year, they want to move on from Dave Doran because it's been, like I said, well over a decade and they've never crossed that plateau to get to double-digit wins. Like, I understand that. I just don't see it being like stage 5, sound the alarms, all hands on deck panic, as long as they're staying one ahead of their rival. But I wouldn't, if a fan is out there that is a bit more passionate, a bit more up in arms than I think that's completely fair as well. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. If you have a different, like, break glass, oh my goodness, this is terrible, emergency threshold for your team, I want to hear it. And also, I do think, like, if you say 8 wins, if you don't win 8 or 9 games, like, the world is coming to an end, I think you might be disrespecting how hard it is to win 8 or 9 games in college football. They're like, 10 wins or we riot is like, well, you don't understand college football because 10 wins is hard. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I want to tell you all about Gordon Miller and Miller Lending. Tim Donnelly here for Miller Lending. You want to talk about seeing a number and panicking? There are certain numbers in your interest rate of your mortgage that if you see it start with an 8, if you see it start with a high 7, you're in a panic mode in a lot of ways, or even higher, right? You are in a panic mode in a lot of ways, and you just want it to go down. Well, we can't control the markets, right? I can't, you can't. I don't even think people that claim to be able to predict the markets can really do much of that. But what we can do is get you hooked up with Miller Lending so you are ready for if and when rates drop, right? If you signed up for a mortgage at the top of the market a couple years ago, you may already see interest rates lower than yours right now, but you want to time it right. I don't know when I want to refi. I don't know when I want to refi. They might keep going down. They might be lower in 6 months. With Gordon Miller and Miller Lending, they take that worry out of your hands. They have something called a no-cost loan. It's a no-closing cost loan, no third-party fees, no extra surcharges, no hidden costs, no-cost loan. And what that allows you to do is, if rates drop 0.5 point, refinance, get that lower monthly payment, right? Let's just get it so it doesn't start with an 8. Let's just get it into the low 7s. And then if they drop again, instead of being bummed out that you refinanced last month and they continue to drop so you didn't time it well, refinance again. No costs, no fees, no hidden surcharges, no extra anything, right? You just keep doing it as rates continue to drop, if they do, and you keep getting that lower monthly payment. If you want to learn more, give them a call. 919-447-3377. That's Miller Lending's phone number, 919-447-3377. Or visit them online at millerlending.com. Once again, that is millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, and MLS number 250-2146. Take a break. When we come back, it is starting 5 time here on The Drive. Don't go anywhere.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
My favorite player in the NFL ever is Dan Marino, and I do not want Lamar Jackson to be the modern Dan Marino. I don't want his career and his accomplishments to feel incomplete because he doesn't have a ring. And I think that's why we put so much pressure on him, because we all acknowledge the greatness, and we don't want to see him fall short of completing the resume.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Joining us on this episode are real Spectrum customers, Monique and Greg. We hear your family is a big fan of Spectrum.
Family of 4, we have about 18 devices last time I counted.
2 teens require a lot of speed. Everything they do is online.
There's gaming, there's streaming. Spectrum is perfect for us. I mean, it just seamlessly connects all our devices with lightning speed.
Sounds like Spectrum is really committed to keeping you connected.
It's amazing.
With the Planet Fitness Black Card, you can bring a friend anytime and so much more when you join today. You heard that right. Conquer the stair climber with your partner in climb. Enjoy a post-workout recovery session in the hydro massage and do it all again with access to any of our 2,700 convenient locations. So, you coming? Get all the perks with a PF Black Card for $1 down and $24.99 a month.
Offer ends August 14th.
See Club for details.
Hey, Joe Fortenbaugh here. Whether you're locking in your home run picks or riding with your favorite golfers this summer, ESPN Bet is your sportsbook for all the action. Go from checking stats on your favorite teams and players to placing bets in just a few taps. Plus, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet app and sign up with the promo code JOEQ to get started today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Workers' comp can be tricky, but my law firm will be on top of all the complicated paperwork and sneaky deadlines so that all of your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. If you've been hurt on the job, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm WRAL meteorologist Mike Mays. This rain continues through the evening, also overnight, albeit for a lot of us not quite as heavy as what we saw earlier today. 66 the low. Cloudy with still a chance for rain tomorrow. 40% chance, 79 the high.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb and Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 5 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones up 81 points today at the closing bell to 44,193.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting five.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan on a Wednesday, hump day. It's so tempting. I want to do it every Wednesday. Hump day. Let's go ahead and jump into the starting five, starting at number 5.
Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
There is a new NCAA sports decision-making structure. The Division I board, which handles NCAA sports. Important to note, that does not include football bowl subdivision bowls. Those are held by a third party. But March Madness, regular season, every other sport, it's run by essentially this Division I board. They've restructured their decision-making hierarchy. The 4 power conferences, ACC, SEC, Big 10, Big 12, now have more power than they even had before. They have each been gifted, I don't know, that's not the right way, awarded a higher voting percentage. So now their votes count for 16.1% of the total vote each. 16.1 is funny to me. The SEC, meaning the Southeastern Conference, once it became obvious that the 4 power conferences were going to have their voting power increased, the SEC was advocating for 17% for each, because that would allow, as long as you get 3 of the power conferences on the same page, if they all voted in the same direction, regardless of what anyone in the group of 5 did, regardless of what anyone in the 4th power conference did, you would get 51%, and that would be enough to push votes through. That is not how it ended up. It ended with 16.1, which means even if you have 3 of the 4 power conferences, you still need somebody else. You still need something else. You need somebody from the group of 5 to help you out. You need somebody from the 4th power conference to help you out, which kind of gives each of the 4 power conferences a veto. If we assume that most discrepancies or disagreements, there will be some form of a line between the power conferences and the group of 5 conferences. One of the power conferences could just say, no, I don't want this to pass, and then it won't pass. So shout out to the ACC for having a kind of weird veto power-ish, I guess. Now, do you know what you do, right? The power conferences, the 4 have all the power. So what do?
Band together.
They have a vote that says, you know what? All billions of dollars March Madness gets goes right to the power conferences. No more mid-majors. You hope they don't do that, but I guess it's possible now. Right? Those sort of things are, corrupt power, or what is it? Absolute power corrupts absolutely. The Power 4 conferences are really gosh darn powerful in college sports right now. What is it? Do you think Notre Dame has what? The rest? That's the rest of the voting just goes straight to Notre Dame? I hate how Notre Dame is always their own little beast. It's always like, well, the ACC, the SEC think this, and the conference commissioners are going to get together, of course, with Notre Dame's athletic director. And I'm like, why is he there? That's discussion for another day. Just join the ACC. How about that? Anything you'd like to add about the new decision-making structure, Dennis?
Notre Dame's not that special. Keep it moving.
All right, that's number 5. Let's hit number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4 all together. What?
We have a bunch of NFL news, right? It's that time of year where free agents may be choosing their spot after seeing the way rosters have shaken out. Injuries might be happening. Suspensions might be coming down. Holdouts might be going on. Keenan Allen signing with the Chargers.
North Carolina's own. Greensboro native.
With every move the Bears make, I get more confused as to how the heck they swindled the heck out of the Panthers. Keenan Allen was traded to the Bears from the Chargers. The pick that the Chargers got back in the Keenan Allen trade ended up being Ladd McConkey, one of the most exciting young wide receivers in the NFL. He had, 200 yards in a playoff game?
He was good last year.
And then they just re-signed Keenan Allen back.
Yeah.
So they traded away Keenan Allen for Ladd McConkey plus. Didn't have Keenan Allen for a year. Now he's back. Good work, Bears. Remember what's the guy? He was the Steeler. He caught 4 touchdowns in one game and everyone got really excited, and then he
Chase Claypool.
Chase Claypool. Speaking of Notre Dame. Chase Claypool. The Bears traded a second-round pick for Chase Claypool. That ended up being the 32nd pick in the draft, which is essentially a first-rounder. That's the team that absolutely swindled the Panthers. They made some really Sweat. Not a very good trade with Washington.
Oh, yeah, Montez Sweat.
Could have just waited till the offseason. He was on an expiring deal. They gave a bunch of picks for him and then gave him a big contract. I don't know how it happened. I'm going to move on. Terry McLaurin did not make the trip to New England for joint practices and preseason game for Washington against the Patriots, which means they're, I guess, not that close. Terry McLaurin, I still think, ends up Washington, but every single day is another day he's not working with his young quarterback. Vikings wide receiver Jordan Addison suspended for 3 games to start the season for a DUI arrest, and it's technically under the substance abuse policy for the NFL. Again, a young quarterback, J.J. McCarthy, is going to be making his debut without one of his studs. That's one of his best pass catchers. T.J. Hawkinson's also been a little banged up through camp, and Justin Jefferson's been dealing with a hamstring. So it went from, depending on how those situations break down, right? Injuries, you never know. But it kind of went from J.J. McCarthy, best situation a young wide receiver can be in, to how much do you think he's working with Jalen Naylor? Matt Stafford dealing with an aggravated disc injury. Shout out to everybody with back problems.
I know a great chiropractor.
He received an epidural shot to help him deal with it.
Jeez.
They've called him week to week, being cautious, but they do have all plans for him to be ready week 1. Seems like they're confident for week 1. But I want to be clear. This wasn't an injury he suffered in training camp. He has not practiced in training camp.
No.
Hard to imagine or to expect durability when you're getting shots before taking a single practice snap and you're going into one of the more physical seasons in professional sports, the NFL.
This is why I wonder if Kirk Cousins is going to get called upon.
Oh, you know who the backup is in the Rams, right?
Who?
Jimmy G.
Oh, that's right. Old Garoppolo. That's right.
Which is hilarious because there's mic'd up footage of Devontae Adams with the Raiders basically saying, like, Jimmy G is going to get me killed out there.
Yeah.
And now Devontae Adams plays for the Rams, expecting to play with Matt Stafford.
Oof.
And he might have to go right back to the guy he was complaining about with Jimmy G. Shedeur Sanders will be starting tomorrow versus the Panthers. Not tomorrow. Friday versus the Panthers in their training camp. I should say preseason game. Before today, how about this? Before the joint practice today, this is from Mary Kay Cabot, who's a beat reporter covering the Browns. Before today, Sanders had received exactly 4 snaps against the first-team defense during training camp. And those came on day 7 of camp last week. Did not have any completions in any team periods to Jerry Jeudy, Cedric Tillman. That's the fastball look the Panthers got today. I actually got Joe Flacco today. But on Friday, they're getting Shedeur Sanders. And lastly, there's a bunch of other news, but the last one I want to pass along to you. Jason Tatum was at Patriots-Commanders joint practice. Jason Tatum, obviously NBA champion, all-NBA player for the Boston Celtics, and former Duke player. You want to know what the news is? He was there. No boot. Nothing, no kind of brace, nothing on the old Achilles. Just 3 months after he popped his Achilles. Now, he's already pretty much been ruled out for this upcoming year, but that's got to be good for the rehab process, right? You want Jason Tatum back at some point. That's number 4. Let's hit number 3. Michael Lombardi, UNC football general manager. Details of his contract that he signed have become public. Shout out to WRAL, investigative sports reporter, Brian Murphy. 3 years, $4.5 million for Michael Lombardi, the GM of UNC. You know what is I'm gonna quote the cinematic masterpiece starring Will Smith and Eva Mendes, Hitch, where he says he's a consultant and she goes, "What does that mean?" And he basically rambles on a bit, and then she goes like, "I don't know what that is." And he goes, "That's why I get to charge so much. Nobody knows." I think that's kind of the GM thing going on right now. Everybody's creating these positions. I don't think anybody really knows what their task is. But that allows you to charge a bunch. Like, how does the UNC program see $1.5 million per year over the next 3 years of value from Michael Lombardi? He's running, I guess, the front office for UNC. But, I mean, Bill Belichick, when he was in the NFL, wasn't letting GMs impact his roster. You think now Michael Lombardi is sitting there going like, "Guys, I'll take control of this," and Bill's like, "Cool, I'll be down on the field. Just send me the players. I'll coach them up."
Yeah, Bill was the GM.
That's my point. And I just, with any business, and I'm not an entrepreneur, I'm not a business owner, somebody signs my checks other than me. If I'm spending $1.5 million a year on something, I kind of want to see, like, all right, where's my $2 million worth of value coming back out of this? And I think it's tough for that position to actually, like, see the return.
Bill Belichick did acknowledge this back on Saturday when they opened camp about the recruiting process and all that, in terms of just the number of just the true volume of players is so much greater than what you're dealing with in the NFL, because the number of free agents nowhere near even touches the amount of guys in the transfer portal, doesn't even touch the amount of guys that you're recruiting out of high school. So just the sheer volume is just way more than, what Bill Belichick had to handle in the NFL. So he needs more help in that regard just to scout guys.
If I'm if I'm Michael Lombardi for $1.5 million, I'm coming with detailed reports on darn near every high schooler in the entire country. So I got a third string quarterback from Bellevue West in Omaha, Nebraska. Coach, do you want to see the write-up? $1.5 million? Yeah, I'll do that. That's number 3. Let's hit number 2.
Just the two of us.
How much? Actually, this will be a different question, and I'm going to get to it. But for the background, ESPN and the NFL, NFL Network, NFL Media, and the NFL, for reportedly 4 years, have been working on a deal that has finally gotten to the finish line. Maybe not crossed it yet, but to the finish line. In this deal, the NFL will take a 10% equity stake in ESPN. So the NFL will own 10% of ESPN. ESPN in return will get additional games that they can broadcast. They will get the rights to Red Zone. They will get the rights to NFL Network. They will get NFL's fantasy football assets for NFL Fantasy from NFL.com. This is a massive move. And they get the partnership with the NFL, right? Which is important. I don't know how stoked I would be if I were like, CBS or Fox or Netflix and saying, you wait a second, you now own them and we're going to bid against them for games and stuff? I don't know how I feel about this. But here's the again, I don't pretend to be a business guy. Dennis, how much do you think 10% of ESPN is like worth on the streets? What's that?
Oh gosh, like 10% of the value of the company?
Like the NFL got 10% of ESPN in the deal.
My guess is that 10% of ESPN is probably,
I mean, it's billions.
My guess is probably around $3 billion.
Which would put the whole thing at like $30 billion?
Yeah.
I see. I have no idea. First of all, just thinking of numbers that big is like funny money to me. The way I always describe it is, if a dollar was a second, right? So you think of it like 60 seconds in a minute. 1 million seconds is like 11 days. 1 billion seconds, 31 years.
Yeah.
So 1 billion is a big number. For billion, like the NFL now has billions of dollars of equity in ESPN. They are really connected at the hip business-wise then. That is a not small undertaking. And do you know what else it shows? And this is, just me, from the outside. The NFL is king in every year, right at the end of the year, they show the most watched television programs, 100 most watched television programs, and like 82 of them are NFL games. And then there's always like the Oscars are one, the Grammys, like the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. There's always these random, like maybe a random NBA Finals game if LeBron's in it. Like there's a couple others, but it's like the 80 of the top 100. If there's a presidential debate, that's always in there. But they're NFL, so ESPN is not foolish for saying, yeah, take 10% if that gets them more closely connected with the NFL, because when it comes to live broadcast, that's the big dog in the world. That's number 2. Let's hit number 1. Panthers had a joint practice with the Cleveland Browns earlier today. I have a bunch of things here from my observations. There was a period. Second period. It was the second team period. Reporters noted 5 penalties, 3 delay games, 2 false starts for the Carolina Panthers.
Canales said it himself, too.
That's not what you're hoping for. But also, that's what practice is for. That is one of the ultimate, right? Because my instinct is like your instinct, right? You just want to get mad. 3 delay games? Get the play in, get lined up, get it run. Or I feel like a high school coach. We're on 2. Hold your water. Like I just want to yell that. That is one of the definitions of we don't know what happened, right? That is the definition of we don't, like, there's some just super easy explanations for that, right? Somebody had to get their ankles retaped, so they weren't out there, and you didn't know who was next up, and you got to find, like, it's really hard to be mad without knowing. If it is just a team not focusing, if it is just a team not paying attention, not knowing their assignment, yeah, that's pretty unacceptable when joint practices and especially joint practice team periods are so valuable towards improving your team at this time of year. But if there's there are justifications in a practice for something like that to happen. So I'm going to do my best to move on from that and move on to the stuff that's maybe a bit more tangible, like Bryce Young getting the experience going up against another defense, going up against somebody else calling plays. Here's Bryce Young on the benefits of playing and seeing another defense in training camp.
It's good to watch us react. Watch us react to different things. Obviously, our defense does a ton of things, but you get very familiar with who you're going against. You get familiar with matchups, and when you come in against a team that you're not familiar with, and you don't know what's going to come. It's good to see where our natural reactions are. So I think this was just a great learning experience for all of us. I love how we responded to things. Obviously there's things to clean up, things we want to get better at, but all in all, I think it was just a great learning opportunity. I haven't watched the film yet, so excited to go into meetings and do that. But anytime we get the opportunity, it's a good thing.
Do you know what I thought was interesting that Dave Canales revealed in his post-practice presser along the lines of reacting? Brad Idzik was calling plays today. Brad Idzik, the offensive coordinator, and it was revealed that he'll be calling some at least some plays, if not the plays, in preseason games as well. With the risk of being a little too over the top on a very small detail, I'll acknowledge that that's possible here. Don't be too good of a friend, Dave Canales, right? Because Dave Canales and Brad Idzik, they're by all accounts buddies, right? They came over with each other from Tampa, seemed to get along real well, kind of like coaching friends. And when you give your offensive coordinator the opportunity to call plays in preseason and to get better at it, you are essentially allowing them and maybe even encouraging them to audition for other jobs, right? Because being a good play caller in the NFL is a valuable commodity. So it's always very nice. You've seen Andy Reid does this with his offensive coordinators a lot, right? Because he knows he gets the credit for play calls in season. He'll very much turn over the reins preseason to his coordinators, and that allows them to almost audition for head coaching jobs or higher paid coordinator jobs, whatever. Dave Canales is still pretty new at this thing too, right? Dave Canales, he called plays now for 2 years. He's been the head coach and play caller for 1 year. I want to sharpen your own tools before you let others sharpen theirs. I just want to make sure that's a priority. And part of this is just because I didn't always agree with his play calling, especially early in last season. I thought it got much better later on with the way he was handling the roster. But if there's something else you got to do in a training camp practice, I'm fine with it, right? The head coach got to watch the defense and the offense, and he's got to bounce around, and maybe he's the whistle that decides when a play ends, and you want to make sure that you're not, looking down at your play sheet and missing something that leads to something foolish. But I would make sure Dave Canales gets plenty of reps as a play caller when he needs them as well, because of everything we talked about, right? The ins and outs, getting in and out of the huddle, getting the play call in quickly. Him and Bryce need to be on the same page. All of that needs to happen. And then also, just because it's become one of my things that I track during training camp, I believe after Friday it's going to be Jalen Coker's time in the spotlight. Jimmy Horn will get all the praise from the wide receivers through Friday because Shedeur Sanders and he played at Colorado together and he's having a good week. But then Jalen Coker's next up. I wasn't sure if it was going to be Jalen Coker or Xavier Legette next up, but it appears like the Jalen Coker praise is coming in. Scored a couple of touchdowns in 7-on-7 today. Here's Dave Canales on Jalen Coker's major strides.
He came back a different athlete. I have to say, of all the guys, Jalen really did a great job of just working on his transition, his speed, his body comp, his readiness for practice and all that. And I think he's just taking steps. He was a rookie last year, kind of thrown into the fire. And this year now he's got a plan. He's got a routine. We talk to the guys about the routines, and people ask, who are the players that you've seen have success over time? It's the young players that have been able to help. They just kind of watch a veteran player and they just follow kind of their preparation when they study, when they take care of their body, how they recover their legs and all those things. And, and Jalen, he shows up like this, and you're playing against other pros, and he's got game experience, so this isn't too big for Jalen, and he got out there and made some great plays. So, and I'm also excited about his impact on special teams. He's done a great job this camp, also covering kicks and also as a blocker.
Oh, sneaking in at the end there, covering kicks also as a blocker. Jalen Coker knows one of my tried and true statements about making a roster in the NFL. The more you can do. The more you can do. I think Jalen Coker is going to start getting some hype here. It just seems like there's a rotation with the wide receivers. Everybody gets their 4 or 5 days in the spotlight, and Jimmy Horns is kind of slowing down, and Jalen Coker is about to take off. And then Xavier Legette will get one of the final spotlights. And then that'll be everybody. We've had Renfro. Tedero McMillan started it off. There's the Jimmy Horn going on now. Coker's up next.
Speaking of Renfro, did not practice again today.
Yeah, I believe there's a 0% chance till after the preseason game.
I guess it's probably Monday next week.
Yeah, would be, I think, the earliest now that he's gone this long without playing with a hamstring strain. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We need some numbers game contestants. Why? Because somebody's got to win some Jason Aldean tickets. Right now, if you call 919-860-5326, you could be one of 2 contestants that will compete in the numbers game, with the winner earning a pair of tickets to see Jason Aldean at Coastal Credit Union Music Park on August 21st. But again, you have to call into play. 919-860-5326. Call in now. 2 contestants. We need you. Numbers game next.
You've heard the perfect scores on air. We're bringing our champions to the stage. It's our 2nd annual Numbers Game Live Show, presented by Sharky's Place Sports Bar and Grill. Perfect players will compete on August 21st at the fabulous Hilton Raleigh North Hills. Watch on YouTube as we crown a Numbers Game champ. Special thanks to On-Site AV, a full-service event production company, for lighting up Numbers Game Live.
When it comes to restoring cars, Diego's got skills. And with Total Wireless in his corner, the whole world sees them. With the dual camera system on his new iPhone 13, he can take amazing car photos and post them on the fly with super fast 5G, and even turn this hobby into a full-time gig. His claim to fame? Claiming iPhone 13 with 5G on us. Get iPhone 13 with 5G on us when you switch to the Total 5G or 5G Plus Unlimited 3-month plan. Total Wireless, in your corner. For limited time while supplies last. Valid in store. Device taxes and fees may apply. Requires port in and ID verification. Restrictions apply.
Struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Turn things all the way up and find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time to play the numbers game. We have Dean and Clayton and Dave in Fuquay Arena getting ready to battle it out in the numbers game. One of them will win tickets to see Jason Aldean at Coastal Credit Union Music Park later this month. As always, I will ask the same question. of both contestants, and Dennis will be the judge. He'll pick his favorite answer. That person will get to go first, and we'll jump into the numbers game. We'll start with Dean and Clayton. Dean, are you there?
I'm here.
All right. Today has been another pretty much wash of a day outside. Just rainy all day. Cats and dogs out there. So the question is, rainy day activity. What are you doing when you're bottled, like you got the day off and you're stuck inside because it's raining all day? What's your go-to rainy day activity?
Well, today, I'm an East Carolina graduate, and I watched Gavin Williams almost pitch a no-hitter today in his first full season in Major League Baseball, and the one hit he gave up was a home run. So I'm a huge Pirate fan, and that was pretty awesome watching that indoors on a rainy day today.
All right. Solid answer. Dennis, any follow-ups?
No, sir.
All right. We'll move to Dave in Fuquay Arena. Dave, can you hear me?
Yes, I got it.
All right. Same question to you. In honor of it being just a gross rainy day outside, what is your go-to, your favorite rainy day activity, something to do when you're stuck inside by the weather?
It's Mario Kart, Nintendo 64.
Mario Kart, Nintendo 64. All right. Those are two different, but I think very good answers. Dennis, you got your work cut out for you.
Oh, that's tough. Rainy day activity. Here's the thing that Mario Kart's always going to be there for you. It's all reliable on the N64. I got to go Mario Kart on this one.
Okay.
As a rainy day activity, it's always going to be there.
All right. Aside from like watching baseball with your favorite player out there, one of your favorite players?
Yeah, but it's no guarantee it's going to be raining and that person's pitching.
All right.
Mario Kart always going to be there.
All right. Mario Kart is the choice. Don't worry, Dean and Clayton. You will have your chance. Just have to sit on hold for a second. Dave in Fuquay Arena, are you ready to pick a category?
Oh, yeah.
All right. The categories are NFL players with early August birthdays, NFL players that at one point or another were teammates with Deion Sanders, NBA Purdue's finest. These are all players that played college at Purdue, or NHL Hurricanes only.
Let's go with Deion Sanders' teammate.
Okay. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. One pass if you need it. Do you have any questions before we get started?
Nope.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Jerry Rice, San Francisco 49ers.
84.
Incorrect. Michael Haynes, Atlanta Falcons.
16.
Incorrect. Jerry Rice, San Francisco 49ers.
80.
Correct. Derek Mason, Baltimore Ravens.
32.
Incorrect. Michael Haynes, Atlanta Falcons.
11.
Incorrect. Derek Mason, Baltimore Ravens.
Pass.
Stephen Davis, Washington Redskins.
32.
Incorrect. Michael Haynes, Atlanta Falcons. You did get Jerry Rice. So you avoided the shutout. Took you 2 tries, but hey, we won't hold it against you too much. You got Jerry Rice with 80. For those of you playing at home, Michael Haynes with the Falcons, we would have accepted 81 or 82. I believe you'd guessed 82 for one of the others, so that's always a bummer. Derek Mason, Baltimore Ravens, 85. And Stephen Davis with Washington, 48 were the numbers we were looking for. But again, a tie would go to you by way of going first, and you did get 1, so stay on the line. We'll see if it holds up.
Thank you.
That brings us to Dean and Clayton. Dean, are you there?
I'm here.
All right. The categories remaining for you to choose from are NFL players that were born in early August, NBA players that played college basketball at Purdue, or NHL Hurricanes only.
I'm going to do NBA players that played college basketball at Purdue.
Okay. This category has been sitting there for a while untouched, so let's see if everybody else made a bad decision. I'll give you the team and the player. You give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. 1 pass if you need it. You need at least 2 for the win. And also, I just to be clear here, since it's a category about college, we are looking for the number of the NBA team I give you, not their number when they played at Purdue, okay?
Got you.
All right. Do you have any questions before we get started?
No, sir.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Zach Edey, Memphis Grizzlies.
14.
Correct. Jaden Ivey, Detroit Pistons.
23.
Correct. Glenn Robinson, Milwaukee Bucks.
13.
Correct. Brad Miller, Sacramento Kings.
40.
Incorrect. Carl Landry, Houston Rockets.
6.
Incorrect. Brad Miller, Sacramento Kings.
52.
Correct. Carl Landry, Houston Rockets.
Pass.
Carl Landry, Houston Rockets, no pass.
14.
You had it. 14 is right, but that was after the buzzer. There's only 5 options here, so a pass on your 5th. I just got to go right back
That's
to
right.
it. But you did get 4 out of 5. That is plenty for the win. Not a perfect score, but plenty to get yourself to Jason Aldean later this month. Congratulations.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Carl Landry, Houston Rockets. 14 is what we were looking for.
It's gonna haunt him.
Yeah, you were close. You were close. That's all I can tell you. You can call back in 30 days and try again. Stay on the line. Dennis has some info he needs to get from you to make sure you get your prize. But congrats.
Don't we almost had back-to-back 5 for 5s?
Would have been nice. Oh,
awesome.
By the way, I will tell you all about Numbers Game Live coming up. But Numbers Game Live, the invite list is sent out. So if you get a perfect score this week this week and forward, which includes our perfect score winner yesterday, and if we would have had one today, you will be qualified for next year's Numbers Game Live event, not the one that is coming up the 21st of this month. Which, oh, by the way, yeah, you heard that right. The Numbers Game Live is back. Our second annual Numbers Game Live, presented by Sharky's Place Sports Bar and Grill, is going to take place Thursday, August 21st, where the perfect score players from our numbers game over the last year up until this week, anytime in the previous year, we'll get together, battle the clock, battle each other at the Hilton Raleigh North Hills, a fabulous hotel for all your needs, and decide who the Numbers Game Live champion is, who truly is the biggest sports fan out there. Go ahead and watch along with us. We encourage you to do so, as we will crown our champion live on our YouTube live stream. 99.9 The Fan. Search for it now. Subscribe. Head in there and like videos, do all the little things, subscribe, set alerts, so you don't miss it, because we will live stream the entire Numbers Game Live competition. Special thanks to Onsite AV, a full-service event production company, for supplying the sights and sounds of Numbers Game Live. Again, this is all Thursday, August 21st. I'm looking forward to it. Our contestants, and I know I've said this a bunch of times going back to last year, but our contestants truly shocked me with how impressive their sports knowledge was last year. There were multiple, I fancy myself a pretty big sports fan. I would have gotten smoked by a handful of them.
Likewise. We had some 5 for 5s in the Numbers Game Live last year where literally it was like 10 seconds.
Yeah. There were a few where I was the one reading the answers off the paper in front of me, and I was going like, oh, yeah, you're like, they were getting it almost before I did. I had to go like, what? Oh yeah, you are right. Like, they were absurd. But with that being said, it's a new year. Anybody's game. Or at least anybody that's had a perfect score and has been invited.
Yeah, and if you've been invited, please show up. We want to celebrate and have fun.
They went out an email, right?
Yes.
To the email that they provided to you when they won their prize.
That's correct.
So because I had a few winners reach out to me on social media, like, when are they coming out? And I told them it was an email, and maybe it was an email that they used to check that they don't check much anymore, or maybe in their spam folder or whatever. So if you have a 5 for 5 at some point in the last year, and you haven't seen your invitation, check your whatever email address you gave us, and check your spam folder if you check there and you don't see it. Just, you don't want to miss out. It's a really cool event. We do it up pretty nice. Hilton Raleigh North Hills, of course. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Speaking of doing it up real nice, Maynard Service Company does it up real nice. Tim Donnelly here for Maynard Service Company. And doing it up real nice for Maynard Service Company may mean something different for them than other industries. Doing it up real nice for Maynard Service Company is being available 24/7 for when your heating, cooling, plumbing, electric needs emergency help. Doing it up real nice is excellent customer service, being a part of the community, getting to know you, building a relationship with not only you, but your house, right? Every house that I've lived in, and I've moved, I think I'm up to like 9 states I've lived in. Every house that I've lived in, every apartment I've lived in, there's something wonky, right? I don't know why the builders did it this way, but guess what? When there's an emergency and a plumber has to come out, something like you're calling Maynard Service Company in the middle of the night, it's really nice if they already know the ins and outs of your house, right? If they're the ones you called last time, if when your air conditioning breaks and they're like, oh yeah, you have the model from 2002. Like, it's really nice for them to know everything about it already. So the way you do that is use Manor Service Company for everything. Heating, cooling, plumbing, electric. Use them for your maintenance, right? If you want to get it serviced, if you want to get it cleaned out, talking about like a cooling system, you want to get them to come out and look at it and just make sure everything's running right. That way, if and or when you hope it doesn't happen, but you want to be prepared for it, something breaks, there's more of an emergency situation, you already have that relationship built up. So start that relationship with a simple call. Call Manor Service Company, 919-361-0993. Talk to them about what you have going on in your house, and they can advise you on maintenance that may need to be done. 919-361-0993, or visit them online at manorservices.com. That's MAYNOR services.com. Panthers joint practice took place earlier today, and we got our first look at a depth chart from the Panthers. It's an unofficial depth chart. Were there any surprise starters? You'll have to stick around to find out.
Move your sports day forward.
A public service announcement on the dangers of hopium. Yes, hopium, a powerful substance before a season starts. Every NFL fan gets a taste, especially with the Carolina Panthers, where it seems continuity has created a side effect: the use of the word playoffs. One piece of advice: until they lead the division, just say no.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
It's bow time. Something new just dropped at Bojangles. Take the bold taste of a crispy golden chicken supreme that's been seasoned to perfection, then add dill pickles, Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, and a toasted bun that's great on the go. What do you get? You get a Bo's Bird Dog. In fact, you can grab 2 of them for $5. So when you're on the go, headed to practice, or need a snack, grab a Bo's Bird Dog. Hurry in before they're gone. Available for a limited time. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time, but sometimes it's go time. No time to stop, but the perfect time for a Bojangles Bird Dog. A seasoned to perfection Bojangles Chicken Supremes, dill pickles, and Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, all tucked inside a toasted bun. Great on the go. Try 2 bird dogs for just $5 or 2 bird dog combo for just $8.25. Available for limited time only. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
Stitches, itches, aches, and pains. Strep and sinus, minor sprains. Pink eye, earaches, fever, flu. Virtual visits, physicals too. At WakeMed MyCare 365, we offer both walk-in primary care and urgent care. So find the MyCare location nearest you at wakemed.org. Walk right in, and for just about anything from asthma, rashes, and examinations to x-rays, labs, and vaccinations, make MyCare your care.
They give to Hubbard over the right side. Breaks a tackle. 10, 5, high step. Touchdown, Chuba Hubbard. And the Panthers win in overtime. A game-winning 21-yard run by Chuba Hubbard. Sweet Caroline, one more time in 2024.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. This morning, the Panthers released their first unofficial depth chart. You're never going to guess it. Bryce Young, 5th-string quarterback. No, that's not true. It's all pretty much exactly what you think. And even if it wasn't, it doesn't matter. It's unofficial. I like to remind people that the first depth chart after the Falcons drafted Bijan Robinson 8th overall. They drafted a running back 8th overall. First unofficial depth chart they put out, he was 3rd. He was the 3rd running back on the depth chart behind Cordero Patterson and Tyler Algier. And then there was Bijan Robinson. Do you know why they were able to do that? Because it doesn't matter who's on the depth chart. And then you get to pretend like he had to earn his spot rather than it being given to him. So the depth charts don't really matter. As far as the positions that we're kind of tracking go, the 3 starting wide receivers, Tedero McMillan, Adam Thielen, Xavier Legette.
No shock there.
No shock whatsoever. As far as the next line goes for wide receivers, David Moore, Hunter Renfrow, Jalen Coker.
No real surprise there.
Jimmy Horn being as a third-team wide receiver, I don't believe they're going to cut Jimmy Horn. He was a sixth-round pick, and if they only keep 6 wide receivers, that just shows you, again, these don't matter because I don't think they're going to cut Jimmy Horn, and if they do, it'll probably be, I would assume, David Moore, but I digress. As far as the defensive line goes, which is another thing where you kind of got to figure out who goes where, A'Shawn Robinson, Turk Wharton, Derek Brown, the starters, Bobby Brown, Shai Tuttle, LeBrian Ray, the backups. That tracks outside linebacker Pat Jones, Princely Umanmielen, backing him up, I should say. On the other side, DJ Wanham with Nick Scorton backing him up. There's really no surprises here. If there's one that's kind of a surprise, kick returner, punt returner, maybe. Raheem Blackshear is listed as the number 1 on kick returner and punt returner. Number 2 kick returner, Rico Dowdle, the running back. Number 2 punt returner, Hunter Renfro. David Moore next up, third team on both. Trevor Etienne, the rookie running back, 4th-round pick, 4th on both. And then Jimmy Horn is actually 5th on the depth chart at kick returner and punt returner. Many believed he could actually have an impact as a kick returner or punt returner. And, ready for this? He still could. Being 5th doesn't mean anything. Probably means he dropped one in practice the day before they put out the unofficial depth chart, so the coach was like, "You're 5th." That's all I got for you. That's all I got. Anything stand out to you, Dennis?
No.
All right. Then moving on to the other thing that doesn't really matter in the scheme of things, but we're going to overanalyze. Joint practice today. It matters more than the depth chart.
Well, of course.
Joint practice today. They welcomed the Cleveland Browns to town for a shared practice. Throughout the show, I've been going over my observations. Did anything stand out to you, Dennis, more than kind of just the run-of-the-mill highlights and catches?
Generally, these joint practices, we see some sort of fight breakout. It's been known to happen across the league for years now, and none of that, which is okay. And also, didn't seem like no major injuries to any big-time players, which is also a good thing.
There was a injury scare prior to practice.
There was.
J.C. Horn was in a car accident, did not practice. Turns out super minor injuries, just needed a couple stitches in his thumb area, as Dave Canales said. Nothing major. He will not play on Friday, but they're still open to the possibility of him playing in the next preseason game against Houston. It does seem like that. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I cover the Panthers, so I hear and think about them more. It seems like they get a lot of like fender benders and stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe a training camp day next year. Just get the old, the driver's ed car with the 2 wheels and have. I don't know. These guys are way too important to the depth chart to be missing time with thumb injuries due to car accidents, because that's exactly what Andy Dalton had last year, right? It was a thumb injury after a car accident.
Wrist injury.
Okay, wrist. Thought it was a thumb.
Yeah, they attach.
Yeah, they're all in the same area. As Dave Canales called, the thumb area includes the wrist. Teteroa McMillan up and down day by all accounts. A couple highlights, a couple bad drops, or at least one bad drop, and then a couple highlights. I think you're going to continue to see that. Why? Because he's a rookie. I'm still waiting for, and I hope we're going to see it actually in one of the preseason games. I'm still waiting for the first goodness gracious, right? I'm still waiting for Teteroa McMillan to remind everybody that he's 6'4" with a vertical leap and a wingspan and a volleyball player's ability to high point it. I'm still waiting for the jump balls. But to go back to what I've been saying about him for a while now, the touchdown that is kind of going viral is a really tough catch in a small window down on the goal line. I think it was a touchdown pass from like the 5. He doesn't need a lot of space, it seems, which means in the red zone he is going to be a monster, right? You're going to have Bryce Young, who prides himself on accuracy, being able to put it into small windows, and McMillan have the first of all, hands, catching ability, but also the focus and everything else that comes with catching in a crowded area. I think they're going to be a red zone combo, man. Princely Umanmielen got a taste of the real thing as I've been describing it. DeJuan Jones, who is a.k.a. gigantic. DeJuan Jones, a tackle for the Browns, is like 6'8", 370. And Princely Umanmielen got a taste of a wingspan, a reach. as he tried to beat him in a one-on-one, and Dewan was able to get him on the ground basically before Princely had any ability to really even start a move, right? It was because the reach was just beyond where Princely could work. I imagine and the next time he faces Dewan Jones, it'll be speed. It'll be try to catch me and maybe bend around the corner, something along those lines, because you got to be faster than a guy that big. But what else do we have here? Oh, Bryce Young looked good. I will echo something I said earlier, which is I have yet to find a situation of any kind other than an NFL game day on the game field that Bryce Young didn't impress in a bunch of different ways. Literally, every media availability, the guy says the right thing. Every practice, he looks good. Preseason, he's looked good. Joint practices, he's looked good. I'm going to talk about like his entire career. Alabama, he looked good. High school, he looked good. Apparently, he's a good basketball player. Like, the guy is impressive in every situation except for like 2/3 of the NFL games he's played in. That's the only place. So we're kind of ironically, similar to what I talked about with the Carolina Hurricanes, where I'm like, you can't prove anything to me until we get to the postseason because you've done everything else, right? You've won. You got 100 points in the regular season. You've won the division. You've done it all. You got to wait till you get to the postseason to prove if this season is any different than last season. So for Bryce Young, it's like it's unfortunate for him, right? It's the gift of being good at these sort of things, or the curse of being good at these sort of things. I'm never going to be excited for Bryce Young looking great in practice because I've seen it. You've done it. You're good at it. I got you. The only way I'm going to get really excited about Bryce Young is if this season on game days, on game fields, looks like the last 4 or 5 games of last year. I'm talking about the whole game. Like, if that happens, then I get excited. But, you know, him throwing a bunch of touchdowns or him placing the ball well on the goal line in a joint practice against the Browns, like, he did that kind of stuff his rookie year in preseason. He did that stuff last year in preseason, and then by week 3 of the NFL season, he was benched. So I'm not falling for it again. At least I'm going to try not to. And no promises. I also said I wouldn't get excited about minicamp videos, and then there was a deep ball to Tedero McMillan, and I'm like, championship. We have some audio here from post-practice. Let's hear from Dave Canales on the up and down at times nature for the offense, but most importantly, growth.
The first couple of drills, I think the first team period, I was excited about the execution. I was excited about the physicality of it. You know, some of our play actions we were able to hold up, which can get a little funky, you know, with different fronts. It's a different defense, you know, than what we've been playing all camp. So that's a challenge. But I loved the run game, loved how we moved it, you know. And then the second team period, it got sloppy. You know, we weren't throwing flags. We had I think 3 delay of games and 2 false starts. We can't have that. You know, we're going to put ourselves in really bad spots, you know, when we're putting ourselves in 1st and 15, you know, and or if it's a 3rd and 6 and we have a false start, you know, all of a sudden it's 3rd and 11, you know, and makes it really hard. You know, now you're in the 20% or less, you know, conversion zone. So I think that's something that just from what I saw, you know, I was very excited about the physicality. I was very excited about the execution after the snap, pre-snap. These kind of opportunities really shine light on what you need to work on.
You know what, actually, and by the way, every coach in the world is going to be frustrated by pre-snap penalties of any kind. But do you know what I actually am a bit excited about this year? If Xavier Legette is healthy, right, and if he's running 4.39 like he did at the Combine, if Tedero McMillan is healthy and is as physically gifted as so many have made us believe, if Chuba Hubbard gets a little extra pop, if Jatavian Sanders is as good as I've been trying to convince you he is as a pass catcher, like if all of that is true, for the first time in a while, 1st and 15 might not seem like a death sentence to the drive. In years like the last 2 years, they jump false start on 1st down. I'm like, all right, punter, warm up. Like there ain't no way they're getting this 1st down.
Even 1st and 5 was like, I don't know.
Yeah. Like, for the first time in a while, at least to start the season, if they jump off sides on first down, I'm going like, all right, let's see what they can do. Maybe we can pick it up. Who's got an explosive play in them, which is kind of nice. Now, by week 3, I might be saying never mind. But at least to start the year, I'm in. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, coming to a close here. Please subscribe to our YouTube, 99.9 The Fan. Like, share, all those sorts of things. We'll be back tomorrow. There will be NFL games, preseason, tomorrow. So I'm excited for it. We'll talk about them. YouTube is 99.9 The Fan, and we'll be back tomorrow. Have a great night, everybody.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
My favorite player in the NFL ever is Dan Marino, and I do not want Lamar Jackson to be the modern Dan Marino. I don't want his career and his accomplishments to feel incomplete because he doesn't have a ring. And I think that's why we put so much pressure on him.